The events unfold in a world where the hero once lived, a world utterly devastated by massive storms filling the sky. Destruction and chaos spread, with monsters swarming everywhere, fighting fiercely and relentlessly. Humanity is forced to battle these creatures constantly just to survive. The hero devoted his entire life to fighting in these brutal, unending wars. Despite being wounded and exhausted, the hero stands resolute and unyielding, gazing toward the horizon with unwavering determination. He faces monsters day after day without ever pausing. The battles drag on for months, with the hero fighting tirelessly. After a year, he grows stronger and more resolute in the face of challenges. 10 years pass, but to him, they feel like fleeting moments as he continues to battle monsters fiercely. With the power of his single sword, he can defeat any beast without fear. Yet, his confidence shatters when a terrifying creature appears, one with power surpassing all previous monsters. The beast easily defeats the hero. It glares at him with contempt, demanding he surrender, as the world he fights for is finished. In this moment of defeat, the hero realizes someone must be orchestrating this destruction, manipulating everything. A mysterious entity declares the hero's strength and potential are wasted and demands he become its sword and tool. The hero scoffs at the offer, rejecting it with fierce resolve. Though wounded, he courageously charges forward, attacking his opponent with all his strength. The battle escalates intensely as both exchange blows. The hero struggles to block the powerful, brutal strikes of his foe. The fight rages on with ferocious attacks from both sides. The hero displays steadfast resilience despite his many wounds. However, the clear disparity in power favors his opponent, who easily counters his attacks. The enemy proclaims that no matter how hard the hero tries, he will always be weak against such overwhelming strength. The hero suffers a devastating, brutal blow he cannot endure. He's thrown back, unable to rise. Though fallen and immobile, he chooses to keep fighting. The monster looms with confidence and arrogance, clearly the victor, flaunting its power and greatness before the defeated hero. Asserting its superiority, it unleashes a destructive attack, showcasing its immense power and demolishing everything around. The hero collapses entirely, kneeling on the ground, exhausted and defeated. Meanwhile, the monster stands tall with full strength, staring down at the hero, who can no longer resist. The hero notices a mysterious glowing pendant hanging prominently on the beast's chest. He stares at it, clenching his fist as he struggles to continue fighting despite his injuries. With immense determination, the hero leaps high into the air and delivers a swift strike at his opponent. The monster retaliates with an overwhelmingly powerful counterattack. Once again, it demonstrates its overpowering strength. The hero falls to the ground in agony, but the pendant begins to crack and glow intensely from his earlier strike. The monster feels a surge of furious rage, roaring in frenzy, calling the hero a wretch. The hero struggles to stand as the pendant shatters completely. The monster screams in despair, trying to stop what's happening, shouting, "Stop!" Its body begins to mysteriously dissolve, leaving a brilliant light filling the entire space. The hero lies on the ground, gravely wounded, surrounded by destruction and ruin. His eyes slowly close as he looks up at the sky, seemingly losing consciousness due to his severe injuries. He gazes at the sky, admiring the beautiful scene, calling it a spectacular and wondrous sight, referring to the clear blue sky where a meteor streaks rapidly. The scene shifts to another person walking confidently on the ground. This person, seemingly a dojan in simple clothing, calmly strides through a modern city. A large sign appears, indicating a B-rank Namsen gate, warning civilians to stay away and requiring heroes to register their ID and hero number to enter. Dojan continues walking, ignoring the instructions as loudspeakers blare warnings for civilians to steer clear. He reaches the Yangon area in Seoul and stands before a large building. Suddenly, he leaps with astonishing speed, effortlessly scaling the wall. As he crosses, a loud alarm sounds, warning of an unregistered intruder entering the gate. The loudspeaker issues a clear alert, warning, an unregistered individual has forcibly entered the gate. Dojan advances into a vast green area within the gate, calmly surveying his surroundings. He stands amidst rows of trees, seemingly unbothered by what just occurred. Someone calls out to him from a distance, saying, "Hey, you there?" Dojan cautiously turns toward the voice. A group approaches him, dressed in formal attire, asking if he's lost. The group's leader says he's unsure exactly what happened, but invites Dojan to join them. As they prepare to leave, Dojan looks at them silently, unaffected by their words. A girl in the group notices his attire and comments in surprise that he looks like an ordinary person, not a hero. Another member mocks Dojan's simple clothing, suggesting he might just be a baggage carrier. Another expresses curiosity and suspicion about the contents of Dojan's large bag. They mock him, saying he's probably just a baggage carrier abandoned by the heroes who went ahead, though they don't fully believe that explanation. Dojan continues speaking with the group, explaining that he understands what they're saying but has just arrived and doesn't want to leave immediately. A group member responds with mocking laughter, saying he told them Dojan was careless and abandoned by others. The leader speaks up sternly, telling Dojan he's seen many like him before and understands his mindset upon entering the gate. He advises Dojan not to be reckless and to start his journey at a lower-rank gate first, as what's shown on media and social platforms differs greatly from reality. He also tells him to get a hero license and pass the test first, especially since the Namsan gate is C rank. He suggests starting with lower-rank gates. However, Dojan responds coldly, saying he appreciates their concern but isn't truly grateful for it. The group falls into stunned silence, shocked by his rude and provocative response. One member, furious, wants to confront Dojan for his apparent arrogance, while others try to calm the situation. Ultimately, the group decides to ignore him, concluding that someone like him will only learn through harsh experience. Dojan recalls in his mind what the leader said about the dangers of gates and the far harsher reality compared to what's seen on media. Suddenly, a massive, towering monster appears right behind him, threatening him. The monster lets out a terrifying roar, preparing to attack. Dojan stands confidently, not even turning to look, facing the incoming assault. His eyes turn golden as he calmly mutters that he's been waiting for this moment for 10 years. The monster is shocked by Dojan's extraordinary ability and unexpected reaction. Dojan then unleashes a lightning-fast, powerful strike, effortlessly defeating the monster. The beast collapses dead, its blood spreading across the area. After killing it, Dojan realizes nothing has changed from his past memories. He still feels the same strength and determination as before. He stands tall amidst the smoke and ruins of the swiftly concluded battle. He picks up a weapon dropped by the monster, examining it with curiosity and focus. Silently, he studies the weapon carefully, contemplating his next move. Turning toward the monster's corpse, he notices a glowing, mysterious gate emerging from its wound. The young man approaches the gate with confident, steady steps. Inside, he finds a low-grade magic stone and picks it up, observing it thoughtfully. He recalls that in the past, he would have scorned such a trivial item, but now he sees it differently. Suddenly, he senses something suspicious and braces himself with intense focus to face an approaching threat. He hears the sound of heavy, distinct footsteps rapidly drawing closer. A group of large, powerful monsters appears before him, ready to unleash a ferocious attack. The young man moves with astonishing speed, deftly dodging their strikes, then effortlessly fells one of the monsters. He continues fighting with immense confidence, advancing toward the remaining monsters as they charge at him with strength and ferocity. Fully prepared, he faces them without fear or hesitation. Se Dojan stands firm in the situation while the group he met earlier walks away, unaware of what's unfolding behind them. The girl in the group turns her head, recalling the young man who spoke to her rudely, and wonders if he's all right. She voices her concern, questioning whether he might actually end up dead, surprising her teammate who doesn't understand her worry for him. The group leader steps in, noting that if the person is an intruder, he's likely already being pursued by Control Center agents. Indeed, Control Center agents are rapidly approaching the area. It's clear that a C-rank gate like Namsan requires B-rank or higher agents to handle such cases. The leader reassures his team that the young man won't die as long as he doesn't act recklessly and fight monsters, and his comrades agree. At that moment, one of them mocks that the arrogant guy is probably trembling in fear, waiting for the agents to save him. In reality, Se Dojan is battling the monsters with remarkable courage, landing decisive blows with his fists. He displays incredible speed and skill in dodging and attacking, effortlessly evading the monster's strikes. They are stunned by his speed and power. Unable to react quickly enough, the monsters fall as Se Dojan leaps high into the air with tremendous force, launching a surprise aerial attack on one, then delivering a crushing blow that kills it instantly, leaving behind a lifeless corpse. Blood spreads across the ground alongside the bodies of the defeated monsters. With visible confidence, Se Dojan declares to himself that he has obtained 3 additional magic stones, then slings his bag over his shoulders, ready to continue his path. He thinks for a moment that the haul isn't too impressive. So far, he has collected 12 low-grade stones and 16 slightly below average ones. As he reflects, an agent from the control center suddenly appears, calling out to him from a distance and motioning for him to follow. Se Dojan turns to him calmly, wondering what he wants. Several agents in official uniforms approach, informing him they are from the control center and requesting proof of his registered hero status, warning that otherwise, he must come with them to the center. Se Dojan responds mockingly, questioning if they're really from the control center. One agent firmly demands that he comply with their orders immediately. Se Dojan shows clear irritation with their persistence, sharply retorting that they're seriously annoying. The agents grow tense due to his reaction. One tells his colleague to bring the cuffs to detain him, insisting he cooperate. They warn that if he refuses, they may use physical force. Indeed, one agent grabs Se Dojan's arm to restrain him, while another warns that any injuries from his resistance will be his own responsibility and that he should come quietly to the control center. Se Dojan continues his confrontation, effortlessly deflecting the agent who tried to restrain him. The agent is shocked by Se Dojan's unexpected strength. Se Dojan looks at them coldly, telling them not to bother him and to leave immediately. The remaining agents quickly intervene, drawing their weapons to subdue him by force. They use special batons, releasing a 4th-rank magic seal to restrict his movements. Se Dojan notices the strength of the magic and comments to himself that it might be effective against monsters like orcs, but it's not enough to stop him. He swiftly overpowers one of the agents, grabbing him with ease, causing the agent to scream in intense pain. He turns to the remaining agents with a serious tone, warning them this is their last chance, and that if they don't want to be hurt, they should back off immediately. The agents attempt another attack, but Se Dojan moves with astonishing speed, striking first. He effortlessly blocks their simultaneous attacks with minimal effort. They try again, but he counters and pushes them back with powerful, direct blows. Se Dojan continues his assault with overwhelming strength, using precise combat techniques to easily defeat the agents. He knocks one to the ground with a heavy strike, leaving them unable to continue fighting. He swiftly turns to the last remaining agent, ready to end the confrontation. The agent feels the immense pressure of Se Dojan's unprecedented power. Se Dojan gazes at him with a piercing, cold stare, clearly demonstrating his ability to overpower them all. Suddenly, Se Dojan vanishes from the agent's sight with astonishing speed, leaving the agent bewildered and deeply unsettled by what just happened. Se Dojan reappears behind the agent and delivers a powerful, direct strike, sending him crashing to the ground, unable to stand. The agent lies there, immobile, groaning in pain. Se Dojan turns back to him, speaking calmly and confidently. He asks the agent why the control center hunts unregistered heroes. The agent explains that registered heroes face no issues unless they break gate regulations. Se Dojan sharply questions him about fracture zones, causing the agent to panic and falter. Fracture zones are defined as passages to other worlds where strange monsters emerge and spread globally. Resources from these monsters are used as a new form of energy. Government-controlled areas that prevent monster escapes are called gates, while unstable areas are known as fracture zones. Se Dojan angrily states that the agents will keep hunting him at every gate he enters, accusing them of targeting him for unauthorized entry. The now terrified agent confirms Se Dojan's words, adding that whenever an unregistered hero enters a gate without permission, the control center is automatically alerted and nearby agents are dispatched immediately. Se Dojan continues speaking with the visibly frightened and confused control center agent. The agent tries to explain that fracture zones are not as easily accessible as gates, and that the Hero Association won't stand idly by if someone attempts to infiltrate them. Se Dojan responds indifferently, unbothered by the agent's threats. The agent, now furious, realizes he should have reported Se Dojan to headquarters from the start, calling him a mad and dangerous individual. But before he can act further, Se Dojan delivers a powerful blow, sending him flying and crashing hard to the ground. Se Dojan looks down at the fallen agent with contempt, calling him useless. As the agent struggles to stand, he yells in rage, vowing to kill Se Dojan the next time they meet. At that moment, the scene strangely shifts in Se Dojan's mind, revealing a distorted, mysterious image of someone screaming loudly. Se Dojan begins to hear a voice akin to a scream, expressing profound anguish. He feels as though he's gradually losing consciousness, being pulled into something unclear, and starts to wonder if this is death. Then, he recalls vividly seeing his former self before inhabiting this body, with calm eyes staring directly at the old Se Dojan. That figure hovers in the air, surrounded by a strange light, as if trapped between sky and earth. The figure calmly asks Se Dojan's name. The old Se Dojan introduces himself, saying he feels on the brink of death. He quietly adds that if his request is met, he will vanish peacefully without causing trouble. But the other firmly rejects the request. Se Dojan is surprised by this declaration and initially doesn't know how to respond. The figure explains that he no longer has any attachment to life, that after 10 years of fighting, he was betrayed by a trusted comrade. His country was completely destroyed, and he lost his friends and family. He speaks with deep sorrow about a life that seems meaningless despite his best efforts. Then, he directly asks Se Dojan if he feels the same. Se Dojan expresses hope that the lives of his remaining loved ones won't be like his own, even if his life has been miserable. The figure curiously asks Se Dojan what he truly wants, in the simplest terms possible. Se Dojan places a hand on his chest and clearly states that what he truly desires is something he has never expressed. The scene shifts again, revealing the Gazan Digital Complex in Seoul's Gumaeon district, now known as the Hero Complex, where businesses dealing in gate-derived products far outnumber IT companies. Se Dojan walks calmly through the bustling streets amid the noise of daily life. He stops before a shop, wondering if this is the right place for his next step. At a shop specializing in buying magic stones, a young employee greets Se Dojan with a standard welcome. Se Dojan explains that he wants to sell the magic stones he's collected. He empties his bag onto the counter, revealing a collection of blood-stained magic stones. The employee, surprised and visibly uncomfortable with the blood on the stones, mutters that people should clean them before bringing them in. However, he calmly informs Se Dojan that he has quite a few stones and that it will take some time to sort them. The employee offers Se Dojan a cup of coffee while he waits, to which Se Dojan briefly replies that anything will do. Se Dojan sits drinking coffee with calm detachment while the employee busily sorts the stones. When finished, the employee details the count: 12 low-grade stones, 16 mid-grade stones, and 5 slightly higher-grade stones. He then informs Se Dojan that the shop takes a 40% commission, leaving him with roughly 6 million won. Se Dojan angrily interrupts, objecting to the high commission and pointing out that he did the hard work of hunting. So why should the shop take 40% of the profit? The employee responds with a smug smile, explaining that other shops typically take 45%, making this a better deal. He tells Se Dojan that if he doesn't want to sell, he can take his stones and leave, challenging that he won't find a better deal elsewhere. Se Dojan coldly refuses to complete the transaction, gathering his stones to sell somewhere else. But as he turns to leave, the employee quickly grabs his arm, demanding payment for sorting fees, coffee, cleaning the blood, and wipes, totaling 360,000 won. Se Dojan firmly states he has no money to pay the fees, challenging the employee to take it by force if he can. The employee smirks maliciously and warns Se Dojan that he has the backing of C-rank heroes, calling him a troublemaker. Suddenly, a group of large, hostile-looking men enter the shop, summoned by the employee. The group's leader, a burly man, asks why they were called, and if someone is causing trouble. Se Dojan exchanges a cold, sharp glance with the burly man, creating a tense, heavy atmosphere. The employee begins to feel fear and anxiety about how things are unfolding. In a flash, Se Dojan launches a swift, unexpected attack on the burly man, knocking him down with a powerful punch. The man collapses to the floor, unable to move or resist. Se Dojan calmly looks at the others, who have also easily fallen before his strength. He slowly approaches the terrified employee and coldly declares that from now on, the commission will be only 1%. With a chilling smile, Se Dojan demands the employee handle things smoothly and with more respect in the future. As he leaves, he promises the employee he'll return. The scene shifts to Se Dojan's family home, where he tosses a large sum of money onto the table in front of his grandmother and sister, both shocked by the sight. His grandmother, stunned, asks where the money came from, bewildered and anxious about what her grandson has done. Se Dojan sits casually on the floor, trying to justify the large sum by saying he lent money to a friend long ago, and that friend used it for a highly successful project. His grandmother looks at him skeptically, finding the story implausible. She pointedly asks if he truly has such a friend. Se Dojan tries to ease her doubts, explaining that this friend is from his past, from where he grew up. His grandmother seems to accept the explanation as she holds the money but remains uneasy. His sister, Hyen Jian, excitedly asks if this means they're rich now. Se Dojan smiles warmly and calmly assures her that they are indeed rich from now on. His grandmother and sister are overjoyed, dancing and celebrating in the house with evident happiness. Se Dojan watches them celebrate, but deep inside, he feels unease. He recalls the request of the other Se Dojan, that his family live in a completely safe place. He had wished for their permanent safety, but the entity vanished before responding. Then he remembers waking up and discovering he had become Se Dojan, after once being someone else in a ravaged world. Se Dojan thinks about how the safest house in Korea costs around 110 billion won at current market prices. He tells himself he's not obligated to fulfill a one-sided promise. Yet, he remains determined to achieve that goal. He confidently assures himself that once he regains his full strength, such a massive sum will mean nothing to him. Se Dojan reflects that everything in this world, gates, fracture zones, and monsters, is far weaker than what he faced in the previous, destroyed world. The terrifying monsters he once fought flash through his mind. He realizes his current strength is less than 10% of what it once was. His thoughts are interrupted by a loud, forceful knock at the door, accompanied by a booming voice calling his name. He calmly tells his grandmother to stay inside with his sister and steps out to face whoever is at the door. Outside, he finds two large men waiting, their hostility and aggression evident. The men demand Se Dojan repay a loan he borrowed previously, stating the debt has ballooned to 45 million won. Se Dojan immediately recognizes them as debt collectors the real Se Dojan borrowed from to cover his grandmother's hospital bills, and the amount has now grown significantly. They aggressively demand he hand over all the money he earned from the gate, per their agreement. As they try to force him to pay, Se Dojan delivers an immensely powerful punch to one of them with astonishing speed. The other man is shocked by Se Dojan's unexpected speed and strength. Clearly shaken by the sudden attack, the second man retreats as Se Dojan approaches menacingly, stating he's already paid over 9 million won and that he's the one who should be demanding money back. The man backs away in fear, stunned and incredulous, asking if he's truly the Se Dojan he once knew. Se Dojan doesn't answer. Instead, he issues a final warning, threatening to tell their boss he'll visit soon. In a bustling shopping center filled with people moving between stores, a display of stuffed toys suddenly appears on a retail shop's shelves, arranged enticingly. Hyen Jian gazes at the toys with excitement and joy, wondering if she can buy a new doll. Se Dojan smiles gently at his sister, assuring her he's bought her new clothes and she can now take anything she wants. He begins to reflect on his emotions, realizing that the memories blending with the original Se Dojan have affected his once numb and detached feelings. He continues watching Hyen Jian and thinks that what he feels might just be empathy. However, he acknowledges that the original Se Dojan was genuinely kind to his half-sister, Hyen Jian. She stands excitedly before the toys, struggling to choose one. Silently, Se Dojan vows to protect the heart of the original Se Dojan, who deeply loved his sister. Yunying finally picks a small toy and asks if she can have it. As she holds up the little doll to show him, Se Dojan reaches out and instead chooses a large, beautiful stuffed animal for her. He reminds her he told her to take anything she wants without hesitation. Yunying beams with a radiant, grateful smile for her brother. After shopping, they sit together in a restaurant with a table full of delicious food. While eating, Se Dojan suddenly hears a girl's voice from behind, surprised, asking if the person in front of her is really Se Dojan. He turns and sees a well-dressed girl accompanied by a group of burly bodyguards. The girl begins mocking Se Dojan's appearance, saying he doesn't look any better than before, then scornfully asks about the little girl with him. Se Dojan gives her a cold stare as she continues to taunt, asking if Yunying is causing trouble like her mother once did. The atmosphere grows increasingly tense due to her words, and Se Dojan and Yunying sit silently as the girl approaches their table with her bodyguards. Yunying, confused, quietly wonders who this girl bothering them is. While Se Dojan remains silent and visibly angry, the girl smirks maliciously and continues mocking, relentlessly provoking them. Yunying looks at her innocently, not understanding the reason behind this sudden hostility. The girl asks Yunying her name, and Yunying simply replies, Yunying. The girl begins ridiculing Yunying and her family, particularly mocking her simple clothes, comparing her to her mother, and calling them both pitiful. She turns to Se Dojan and, with a provocative tone, asks if she's right, but he remains silent and furious, refusing to respond. The girl grows visibly irritated at being ignored and receiving no reaction to her taunts. She then turns back to Yunying and, with a clearly threatening tone, calls her an annoying brat. Arrogantly, she continues to provoke Se Dojan, sarcastically asking if Yunying knows the meaning of vagabond. Se Dojan glares at her coldly and retorts sharply, calling her as ugly as an orc. The girl is stunned by the unexpected reply, looking at him in disbelief. Stammering, she asks if she heard him correctly. Se Dojan continues to stare at her with fierce, angry eyes. He recalls the harsh past of the real Se Dojan, born into extreme poverty. After his mother's death at age 7, he was forced to live with his biological father. But life never improved as he endured over 10 years of discrimination and neglect from his father's legal wife and her son, becoming completely isolated within the family. Eventually, he was cast out and went to live with his grandmother and half-sister Yunying, whom he had never met before. Se Dojan feels deep sorrow, wondering how the original Se Dojan endured such injustice and cruelty in silence. He then resolves firmly that things will be different from now on. Se Dojan turns to the arrogant girl with a confident, defiant look and says he lived with her for 12 years, yet she still disgusts him. He harshly calls her hopeless in appearance, deplorable in character, and dim-witted in mind. He continues, brutally stating that she's always been jealous of girls more beautiful and kind-hearted than her, clinging to a deep inferiority complex. He adds that she could never compare to Yunying, who genuinely cares about her brother's financial situation. The girl glares at him furiously, her face clearly showing shock at the scathing insults. She screams frantically, demanding to know what he just said. Suddenly, a calm female voice says, Dojan, it's been a while. An elegant, refined woman approaches them, her confidence and strength immediately apparent. The girl, stunned to see her, cries out, Mother, and runs to her, tearfully complaining about what Se Dojan said. But the mother sharply tells her to be quiet and stop behaving improperly. Ignoring her daughter's outburst, the mother turns to Se Dojan with a seemingly gentle tone, asking if he's doing well. As Se Dojan leaves, the mother reproaches him with feigned sympathy, saying that despite being busy, he should visit home sometimes. Inside, Se Dojan burns with anger, thinking of the hypocrisy of the woman who hurt him most for 12 years. The mother continues her provocation, claiming his father is very worried about him, expressing disgust in a blatantly false manner. Se Dojan turns to her with an angry glare and bluntly states that their relationship doesn't allow her to inquire or interfere in his life. He then harshly tells her to get out of his sight immediately. The woman feels insulted and humiliated in front of everyone by Se Dojan's bold and resolute response. She leaves in anger and shame, while her daughter stands behind, stunned by the sharp and humiliating confrontation. As the woman storms off, she wonders if this is truly the Se Dojan she once knew, the one who always bowed his head, even when unjustly struck. Her daughter hurries after her, calling for her to wait. Meanwhile, Se Dojan quietly turns to Yunying and says it's time to leave, and she immediately agrees. He confidently thinks to himself, declaring inwardly that the Se Dojan who silently endured abuse is gone, warning his enemies they should realize it quickly. The car carrying the woman, her daughter, and their bodyguards speeds away from the scene. Inside, the girl begins shouting angrily, demanding to know why they left like that, and insisting Se Dojan must be punished for what he did. She continues loudly complaining to her mother, furiously asking if she knows what Se Dojan said to her. But the mother ignores her and coldly addresses a bodyguard, Captain Lee. The mother turns to the bodyguard and sharply asks why Se Dojan is still alive. Captain Lee nervously replies that reports indicated Kang Cheol-woo abandoned Se Dojan in a fracture zone. The mother screams in rage, saying Se Dojan was supposed to be dead and questioning how he's still alive. The bodyguard immediately apologizes and promises to investigate further. The girl, shocked by what she hears, begins asking her mother what she meant by saying Se Dojan was supposed to be dead, but the mother remains silent, ignoring her daughter's question. Stunned, the girl yells in disbelief, "Did you really try to kill Se Dojan?" Then, in a mix of anger and jealousy, she continues, asking if her mother still has feelings for him. The mother explodes in fury, grabbing her daughter's face and shouting that she has no feelings for him, warning that neither her grandfather nor her father must know about this. She threatens her daughter fiercely, cautioning her not to interfere again, making it clear this matter concerns only her and she will handle it herself. The girl, terrified, falls silent. Inside, the mother continues to seethe, vowing that Se Dojan, a worthless, illegitimate child, dared to challenge her. She resolves to make him disappear at all costs. The story shifts back 10 years to when fracture zones first appeared. These zones unleashed dangerous monsters that attacked and killed mercilessly, plunging the world into extreme chaos. However, the situation gradually stabilized with the emergence of heroes capable of fighting the monsters. From these creatures, humans obtained magic stones called mana stones, which became the world's new energy source. Nations began transforming the dangerous fracture zones into organized gates. Now, the entire world revolves around gates and heroes, with whole industries centered on these gates. Elsewhere, Se Dojan realizes the only way to make money in this world is to become a hero. He arrives at a building called Yongjungpo, the headquarters of HC Finance Company. At what looks like an old, worn building, a man stands smoking, observing the scene with anticipation. Se Dojan enters, surprising the smoking man and his cohorts with the presence of a stranger. The man sternly asks who he is, then angrily adds whether he really dares to show up here after causing trouble with his men earlier. Se Dojan responds completely calmly, saying the more he thinks about it, the more he realizes he's suffered significant losses. The man, confused by Se Dojan's words, asks what he means by losses. Se Dojan continues, coldly explaining that he deserves substantial compensation for the material and emotional damages he's endured. The man in glasses stares at Se Dojan, thinking to himself that Se Dojan's personality has drastically changed since entering the gate. He also concludes that Se Dojan must have awakened powers within the gate. He steps closer, threateningly warning that he knows what happens to those who become arrogant after awakening in a gate. Suddenly, the other men approach and surround Se Dojan, clearly intimidating him. The main man stands and approaches aggressively, angrily explaining that he's seen many D-rank heroes, all arrogant, but ultimately worthless. He boasts that he has plenty of D-rank heroes who don't even allow others to speak to them. Se Dojan remains silent, ignoring the threats. But the main man, enraged, orders him to sit, thinking the conversation is over. Se Dojan firmly replies that he's not done speaking. The man, furious at Se Dojan's response, suddenly tries to attack, but is shocked to find Se Dojan moving with astonishing speed. Se Dojan delivers a powerful headbutt, instantly knocking the man down. He then effortlessly attacks the others who surrounded him. unleashing crushing blows that quickly send them to the ground. While fighting, Se Dojan tells them he knows their business isn't limited to loan sharking. He continues, stating mid-fight that he also knows they forge identities. Se Dojan explains that to start earning money, he needs an official hero ID card. He fights relentlessly, deftly dodging the men's attacks. Standing among the defeated men lying on the ground, he coldly demands the main man provide him with a genuine hero ID card, free of any errors or issues. He adds with a resolute tone that it must be ready by tomorrow. The main man, gripped by extreme fear, thinks to himself that Se Dojan might not just be a D-rank hero, but perhaps B-rank or higher. As Se Dojan continues speaking to the beaten man, he demands a clear answer to his question. Terrified, the man quickly agrees to Se Dojan's demands, but Se Dojan stops him, saying there's one more thing he wants to know. He then harshly and threateningly asks if Hong Hiju ordered his death. The man clearly recalls Hong Hiju's image as she gave him the order, but he remains silent, not responding. Angered by the silence, Se Dojan presses harder on his face, again demanding an answer. The man screams in pain and terror, quickly confessing that Hong Hiju indeed ordered him to do it. He explains that Hong Hiju hoped Se Dojan would fall into debt so severe he'd take his own life. The man continues shouting in fear that those were Hong Hiju's exact words. Se Dojan remains calm after the confession while the man begs to be released. Se Dojan mocks his talk of suicide, saying it explains why he was trapped in the gate. The man immediately tries to justify himself, insisting he knew nothing about the gate situation. He continues defending himself, saying that if Se Dojan died, he wouldn't get paid, so why would he trap him there in the first place? Se Dojan listens with curiosity and quiet contemplation. Then, he suddenly recalls the name Kong Cheol-woo and says it aloud. He explains to the man that Kong Cheol-woo was the one who trapped him in the gate and demands all information about this person by tomorrow. The man instantly agrees, clearly terrified. Se Dojan calmly leaves the place, leaving the men in a state of panic and extreme fear. As he walks away, he recalls his wish to live with his grandmother and sister Yunying in the safest house possible. Se Dojan resolves to work toward this goal. He strides forward with confident steps. Se Dojan received a hero identification card from the man he had instructed to prepare it. He used the card on an electronic device to verify its authenticity. The device confirmed that Se Dojan's hero identification card was valid. However, a clear warning appeared on the device, stating that Se Dojan's level was below the recommended threshold for entering the gate. Muttering in frustration, Se Dojan complained that the man should have assigned him a higher rank, like A rank, instead of his current rank. Ignoring the warning, he confidently proceeded through the entrance as the device continued to issue alerts. Information about the Bamseum gate was provided, noting that it was ranked B but as small as a D-rank gate. Authorities advised against entering unless in a team of 2 or more. However, it was also noted that due to the gate's tunnel-like structure, it only allowed single-file entry, making it extremely difficult to complete unless the hero was at least A rank. Se Dojan continued into the gate, disregarding all warnings displayed before him. The text explained that, if unlucky, he might face hundreds of monsters alone in a dark, narrow tunnel. As Se Dojan began encountering monsters, he showed no fear. On the contrary, he seemed to relish the battle. Se Dojan's fight began with a giant, ferocious, snake-like monster. He displayed exceptional skill, dodging its rapid, consecutive attacks. The snake continued its assault, spewing venom from its fangs to try to injure him. Se Dojan recognized the creature as a black-fanged snake, an extremely venomous species capable of killing with just a small amount of its poison. He successfully landed a powerful, direct strike on the monster. With swift and skillful movements, he delivered consecutive blows to the beast. Moving at high speed, Se Dojan avoided the deadly venom the monster sprayed around. He escaped being poisoned and felt relieved at his success. Looking at his glove, which had been splashed with some venom, he thought to himself that it was worth at least 300,000 won. In a moment of intense focus, Se Dojan sensed the monster's rapid movement and prepared to counter. The monster attacked with great force, but Se Dojan blocked it with ease. As a result of the confrontation, the monster was forcefully repelled, its venom spreading across the area. Se Dojan stood tall, watching the creature collapse before him. After defeating it, he searched for a magic stone within its body but found none, calmly stating that there was no magic stone inside. Based on past experience, he noted that the probability of finding a magic stone in a black-fanged snake was less than 3%. Realizing he would need to hunt hundreds of monsters to collect enough stones, Se Dojan calmly told himself to prepare for the effort. He continued through the gate, reaching an area filled with bones and monster corpses. A massive skull appeared before him, and he wondered if it might be the gate's boss monster. Se Dojan looked up to confirm the presence of the boss monster and prepared to face it. The boss monster appeared, a giant snake with glowing green eyes. Feeling relieved that it had revealed itself, Se Dojan remarked that he didn't know the way to it, so this was convenient. He decided to attack immediately to end the battle quickly. However, he was surprised to find that his attacks couldn't connect with the monster's body. He wondered why his strikes failed to land effectively. Se Dojan persisted, moving nimbly to dodge the boss monster's attacks. Finally, he landed a powerful blow, causing the boss to roar in pain and shock from the intense strike. He continued fighting with rapid, powerful attacks, moving flexibly to evade the boss's strikes and delivering another strong blow. Se Dojan successfully landed a finishing blow, asserting his dominance in the battle. As the confrontation with the giant snake continued, he realized, as expected, that its skin was extremely tough and entirely different from previous monsters, to the point that his attacks had no effect. Standing there, Se Dojan wondered what he could do, wishing he could reclaim his former strength, as a monster like this should have been easily defeated. At that moment, he noticed something on the ground nearby and shifted his attention to it. Approaching, he discovered an old sword lying on the ground. After examining it closely, Se Dojan decided that, despite its age, he had no choice but to use it. Confidently picking up the sword, he remarked that its value lay in the skill of the wielder, not its quality or age. Now armed, he prepared to face the monster, saying he would borrow the weapon for a while. Se Dojan attacked the monster fiercely with the sword, landing a powerful blow that the creature seemed unable to counter. During the attack, he told the monster it should consider being destroyed by his hand and honor. The monster let out a loud roar of pain after receiving the strike. Se Dojan continued delivering consecutive sword strikes, asserting complete control over the battle. These relentless attacks caused significant damage, and the monster was now clearly losing. After the confrontation ended and the monster fell, Se Dojan noticed a stone drop quickly from its body and caught it before it was lost. He felt relieved, as losing the stone would have been disastrous. Leaving the defeated monster, Se Dojan calmly observed its corpse while inspecting the sword he had used. He noted that it was slightly short for a longsword, but said it could be useful if sharpened further. He left the area, expressing satisfaction with the results, considering them better than what he achieved at the Namsun Gate. Se Dojan exited the gate late at night, feeling frustrated that a B-rank gate took so much time to complete. He resolved that regaining his strength was now his top priority. He felt relieved that his former teammates didn't see him in his current state, which he considered weaker than before. The scene shifts to a mana stone shop, where a man places the stones he collected on the counter. The shop owner tells the man he has a decent haul, but reminds him that the standard commission is 40%. The man protests, arguing the commission is too high and asking for a discount since he's a regular customer. The shop owner firmly responds that their commission is the lowest compared to other shops, and the base commission at the gate center is 5%. He also confirms that the shop doesn't keep sales records, meaning the man won't have to pay taxes on the money received. Convinced of the benefit, the man agrees. Curious, the man asks about a visible injury on the shop owner's face. The owner responds with anger and frustration, saying he doesn't want to talk about it, explaining that a lunatic barged in, beat up the guards, and injured him. The man jokes that the loss might be due to the owner hiring only C-rank guards, explaining the real differences in ability across ranks. The man wonders if a shop guard's skills could compare to a hero risking their life against monsters. He leaves the shop with a smile, telling the owner they're not strangers and he can call for help anytime. Se Dojan remains calmly in the shop after the man leaves. A staff member, previously attacked, notices Se Dojan's presence and panics upon seeing him. Fear and shock are evident on the employee's face. Suddenly, the employee yells, pointing at Se Dojan and telling a large man nearby that this is the one who attacked him. The large man, surprised by the accusation, looks at Se Dojan, wondering if this tall, handsome young man really caused the trouble. The large man angrily approaches Se Dojan, asking if he's the troublemaker, emphasizing that a hero attacking ordinary people is inappropriate. The employee feels confident and relieved, believing the large man, a veteran hero with 7 years of experience, will be more than a match for Se Dojan. But Se Dojan responds coldly, telling the large man to mind his own business and leave. Both the man and the employee are shocked by Se Dojan's bold and unexpected reaction. Se Dojan continues calmly, provocatively asking if the man really wants to seek revenge for the beaten employee. The large man, enraged, thinks Se Dojan needs to be taught a lesson. However, the veteran hero suddenly recalls a crucial fact. Most hero deaths come not from monsters, but from conflicts with other heroes. This realization sparks tension and awakens his cautious instincts as a 7-year veteran. The veteran quickly decides to avoid confrontation. He hurriedly leaves, apologizing that he's busy and hopes to meet again. After the man departs, Se Dojan turns to the employee, giving him a chilling stare. With a calm but terrifying tone, Se Dojan asks if he has any more complaints. The employee, panicked, is unable to respond. Se Dojan tosses a bag full of high-quality mana stones in front of him, demanding their value be calculated. The employee, shocked by the quantity of high-quality stones, wonders about Se Dojan's true identity. After counting, he reports the total value as 150 million. Se Dojan, frustrated by the low amount despite a day's work, orders the money to be brought. The terrified employee reminds him that the commission must be deducted, but Se Dojan glares menacingly, causing the employee to wonder if he said something wrong. Changing his cold demeanor, Se Dojan states the commission is only 1% and demands 148.5 million immediately. The employee, losing composure, shouts that the commission is 40%, not 1%, but calms down and explains that transactions over 100 million require approval from higher-ups. Se Dojan coldly tells him to get approval now. The employee immediately calls his superior, explaining the situation with tension and fear. Se Dojan suddenly snatches the phone and demands the superior authorize the payment. The superior tries to ask for the phone back to clarify, but Se Dojan angrily smashes it against the wall. Finally, he tells the employee that the superior understood and orders the money to be brought, leaving the employee speechless at the clear threat. Intimidated by Se Dojan's threat, the employee complies in a subdued voice and hands over the large sum. Se Dojan calmly leaves the shop after receiving the money, smirking and telling the employee they should do good business again next time. A burly man arrives at the shop, harshly asking the employee why he didn't answer the phone and what the earlier call was about. The employee, now completely broken, tells the man he can't continue working and declares his resignation. Looking at the shattered phone, he repeats in despair that he can't take it anymore. At that moment, the phone rings, and the employee turns back with anxious desperation. On the other end, a man speaks, requesting a girl named Jian to come immediately. Hyen Jian appears, an elegant woman with purple hair, confidently walking down the street, drawing admiring glances. When Hyen Jian enters the shop, the employee is shocked and yells in disbelief upon seeing her. Hyen Jian smiles calmly and confirms she is indeed Hyen Jian, summoned to meet. The employee realizes she is Korea's 4th-ranked hero and vaguely recalls she's the boss's granddaughter, wondering why she's here. Hyen Jian explains she came because her uncle complained about a severe headache caused by a hero pressuring a mana stone sale. Hyen Jian seriously demands the employee recount everything that happened in the shop in detail. The scene shifts to our protagonist, his chiseled, muscular frame like a sculpted statue. Dojan meditates under the midday sun, sweat dripping from his robust body. Despite hunting monsters all day, the rewards were meager. He begins to worry about the future. His primary goal is to reach a level where he can solo S-rank gates. That means restoring his original strength. Got it. It's time for brutal training. But his biggest challenge in this world is the low mana density. No matter how hard he tries, At the current absorption rate, it'll take at least 3 years to approach his former power, if everything goes smoothly. Another option is investing in stronger gear. Unfortunately, even the cheapest items cost hundreds of millions of won, too wasteful. Suddenly, a chill runs down his spine. He senses something dangerous approaching. Glancing at Yunying, Dojan's eyes harden. He instantly dashes over, scooping her up with lightning speed. "Everyone, get inside," Dojan shouts. Once indoors, he slams the door shut. Grandma, panicked, asks repeatedly, "What's going on, dear?" The ground shakes violently, the house threatening to collapse. Grandma trembles. "Good heavens, is it an earthquake?" Yunying cries in fear, clinging to her brother. But only Dojan knows this isn't a normal quake. It's a sharp, violent energy flooding the space. A spatial rift, a gate, has opened right above their roof. Without hesitation, he growls, "Stay inside. Don't come out." At breakneck speed, Dojan charges toward the rift. The last sound he hears before entering is the desperate cries of Grandma and Yunying calling his name. The scene shifts to the Seoul Hero Association's headquarters. An alarm blares. An unexpected gate has appeared in the sky above the Ma district. It's the first gate opening in 63 days of peace. Knowing the White Lion team is closest, the manager orders, "Contact them, mobilize nearby heroes for immediate rescue." But upon checking the gate's exact coordinates, his eyes darken. My God, the gate opened right above a residential house. This is an incredibly tricky situation, even for seasoned veterans. If a civilian enters the rift, they're almost certainly dead. Worse, the rift will close immediately, barring others from entering. And if the person inside dies, 10 days later, a ferocious monster wave will erupt, spreading across the area. This would cause chaos, destroying everything and threatening Seoul's safety. The manager wonders who entered the rift. They quickly confirm it was Se Dojan, a resident of that house. According to his grandmother, Dojan entered the rift solely to protect his family. This reveals he's not a professional hero, complicating matters further, as an ordinary person has almost no chance of returning from a rift. The entire staff feels hopeless and helpless, unable to do more. In the next scene, Dojan's stepmother, Hong Hee-ju, is furious upon learning he's awakened. She can't believe her ears. Her assistant reports that, though Dojan hasn't officially registered with the Hero Association, it's confirmed he awakened during a recent gate opening. This enrages her, as Kang Cheol-woo was tasked with eliminating Dojan, but instead made him stronger. In a rage, she slams her hand on the table, yelling, "Why can't they finish it themselves, taking money for a failed job?" She roars at Manager Lee, then sends a threatening message to Cheol-woo. If he doesn't personally kill Dojan, he'll repay 10 times the fee. But what shocks her more is new information from the assistant. A rift just opened above Dojan's house, and he entered it. This means he's unlikely to survive. Hong Hee-ju visibly rejoices, pleased at the prospect of Dojan dying inside the rift. For the first time, she calms down, eerily composed. She tells her assistant to keep monitoring until more news comes. Meanwhile, Dojan steps into the rift space. It's a forest, astonishingly the Patiswa forest, identical to his memories down to the smallest detail. Even the dense mana feels nostalgically familiar. Silently walking an old trail, Dojan smiles as the majestic world tree appears before him. The world tree, the purest source of mana, stands divine and sacred, the cornerstone balancing the entire world. When the old world collapsed, it began with the world trees burning, forever disrupting the mana flow. But in this rift's dimension, the tree remains untouched, as if time never reached it. Though the reason is unclear, Dojan knows one thing. He has a chance to reclaim his lost mana. Meditating under the tree's sublime mana flow, Dojan feels his strength gradually return, like a cool stream coursing through his body. Days pass. 1, then 2, then 3, and Se Dojan remains seated, deeply immersed in meditation and mana absorption. He forgets to eat or drink, maintaining this state for 10 days, focusing solely on breathing and absorbing mana. After this prolonged period, Se Dojan breathes a sigh of relief, feeling a tremendous change in his strength. Suddenly, he senses strange movements and suspicious sounds from within the forest, his expression turning cautious. Glowing creatures appear before him, and Se Dojan angrily identifies them as volcana. He immediately recalls that these creatures burned the world tree in the past, causing the destruction of his previous world. They swiftly move toward the world tree, attempting to destroy it again. Se Dojan prepares to confront them, wishing he had a water-based weapon to aid in this battle. The glowing creatures charge at him with terrifying speed. But Se Dojan quickly decides that the lack of a weapon doesn't matter, and he can face them with his current strength. He confidently declares he will crush every single one of them. Se Dojan begins using the power from pure mana to attack. He unleashes a powerful strike, causing the monsters to crumble before his overwhelming strength. Se Dojan engages in battle with the creatures called volcana. With intense focus, he releases mana energy on a massive scale, enveloping himself in it. He notes to himself that the dense mana has been released in a concentrated form to create a powerful explosion against the monsters. Se Dojan exhales after the strike, remarking that it's been a while since he released such a large amount of mana at once. The volcano monsters reappear, filled with rage, and begin attacking him. Se Dojan counters swiftly and powerfully. Using concentrated mana to hurl at them, he advances with strength and confidence. He easily blocks the monsters' attacks, maintaining his calm demeanor. Se Dojan declares he has secured the safety of the world tree and now decides to check the amount of mana he has restored using his eyes. Confidently advancing toward the monsters attempting to attack again, one charges with ferocity, its mouth wide open with sharp teeth. But Se Dojan strikes back forcefully, landing a direct punch into the creature's mouth. After the powerful blow, the monster is defeated, and a red gem falls from its body to the ground. Se Dojan approaches the gem and confirms he has obtained it. He smiles confidently, proclaiming to the monsters that by defeating them all, he will obtain a rare item called the Eternal Flame. He continues with a confident smile, stating he will claim this item. Se Dojan recalls that the probability of obtaining it in the past was quite high. He decides to test his luck to gather more from the remaining monsters and begins attacking with strength and ferocity. More red and gold gems fall from the monsters Se Dojan defeats, and he examines them carefully. Then he realizes the Eternal Flame is among the gems and cautiously picks it up. Se Dojan feels satisfied retrieving this item, expressing surprise at having it again. While focusing on the Eternal Flame in his hand, he realizes he wants to absorb more mana from the world tree, but knows his current body cannot withstand it. Thus, he decides to absorb the energy of the Eternal Flame and convert the mana in his body into the fire element. Se Dojan recalls that in the past, he didn't even need to personally absorb such rare items. He moves around, collecting the scattered gems dropped by the monsters. Se Dojan continues absorbing the energy of the Eternal Flame until the last drop his body can endure. Meanwhile, outside the Rift Zone, a crowd gathers, watching the rift with great fear and anticipation. The atmosphere is chaotic and tense, with one person shouting angrily and anxiously, "Damn it!" The scene begins with outrage from a man named Bang Sung-woo, expressing frustration about a lunatic's actions, questioning why this trouble arose. Kim Hyen-woo responds, pointing out that the person did it to save his sister. But Bang Sung-woo angrily dismisses this, saying it's just an excuse, and that the person likely heard rumors of something valuable in the rift and rushed in without considering others. He adds that if someone wants to die, they should die alone and not cause trouble for everyone. Kim Hyen-woo asks what the guild leader said. Bang Sung-woo replies that the leader only ordered them to wait and monitor the situation. Kim Hyen-woo wonders why they must wait, and Bang Sung-woo explains that rifts have appeared simultaneously in major countries like the US, China, the UK, Turkey, and Switzerland. Kim Hyen-woo understands why the leader is busy, noting this is the first time this has happened. He adds that other countries are managing well, but they're in trouble because of the person he calls a beggar. Bang Sung-woo, furious, says he'll wait for the person to come out and smash his face. The mysterious rift continues to grow, and the surrounding situation is extremely tense and chaotic. It's officially announced that 28 days have passed since the new rift appeared, and the Hero Association warns of a first-grade monster wave. It's also stated that if the civilian, Mr. S., the first to enter the rift, doesn't emerge within 2 days, the situation will become dire. The scene shifts to a man, seemingly a leader, who asks in surprise, "So the civilian who entered first is that bastard Se Dojan?" Assistant Director Kim confirms the information is correct. Se Dojan is indeed the civilian. The leader asks about Se Dojan's chances of surviving. Director Kim replies that if he's just a civilian, the odds are nearly zero, about 1%. The leader scoffs, saying, less than 0.1% chance of survival, calling the idea of a civilian surviving absurd. The leader mocks the Hero Association, saying they made a huge mistake due to a lack of information. He wonders aloud, what if Se Dojan has actually awakened? Director Kim responds that if he has awakened, it would depend on his hero rank, admitting it's hard to make an accurate assessment. The leader agrees with Director Kim, noting that being good at fighting and surviving a rift are different. Suddenly, the leader mentions that Se Dojan has 2 family members and suggests detaining them. Director Kim, surprised, asks what they plan to do. The leader responds with a chilling calm, saying to treat the family well for now, but if Se Dojan dies, they'll sell their organs. If he survives, they'll demand huge compensation and push him into debt. Meanwhile, Se Dojan continues focusing deeply on absorbing energy from the world tree within the rift. Se Dojan feels a significant change in his body and strength after absorbing the eternal flame's energy, wondering how much time has passed. He confirms he has absorbed hundreds of eternal flames. He declares he can now use fire elemental mana whenever he wants, noting his fire resistance has greatly increased and feeling he's in a much better state than when he was called a sword master. Se Dojan touches the world tree with a reflective expression, recalling the past and comparing it to the present. With gratitude, he thanks the world tree for the energy and strength it has granted him. The story continues with Se Dojan expressing deep appreciation for the world tree. He then begins collecting the red mana stones obtained from the battle with the monsters, placing them in a small bag. Looking at the world tree, he sadly muses that he may not see it again after this. But he tells it that if they meet again and it's in danger, he will protect it at all costs. Se Dojan exits the rift, noticing the area is completely deserted. He wonders if everyone left to prepare for the impending monster wave. Then, he senses a strong presence in a certain direction and immediately decides to head toward it. He moves quickly toward the source. Meanwhile, Bang Sung-woo and Kim Hyen-woo stand talking near the rift area. Se Dojan recognizes their uniforms from afar, knowing they're from a group he encountered at a previous gate. Thinking that being caught by them would be troublesome, he decides to use his newfound power, unleashing a powerful fire explosion toward them. The flames spread quickly, causing a massive explosion that shocks everyone. Kim Hyen-woo, stunned, shouts, wondering where the sound came from, worrying it might be fire. Panic spreads through the group as they check for civilian injuries. While people try to flee, Bang Sung-woo and Kim Hyen-woo are left shocked and angry. Bang Sung-woo furiously wonders why there's fire here. Meanwhile, Se Dojan calmly leaves the area, observing the flames he created, thinking about their quality and precision. He mutters the name Kozak, wondering if Kozak would be impressed with this fire. He recalls the past, saying that Kozak, the continent's greatest fire mage, would surely be pleased to see it. At that moment, Kim Hyen-woo senses something unusual, suddenly stopping and saying to Bang Sung-woo, "Wait." Kim notices the rift behaving abnormally and informs Bang Sung-woo. Everyone looks at the rift with amazement and concern as it begins to change shape in a strange and suspicious way. Bang Sung-woo, extremely tense, wonders what's happening to the rift. The crowd's astonishment grows as the rift starts to disappear. During this, Se Dojan quietly departs, walking confidently with his bag of stones. He glances back with a stern expression, displaying determination and confidence in his achievements. A breaking news broadcast airs across the city about the sudden disappearance of the new rift in Mapo district this morning, accompanied by aerial footage of the city with a prominent building in the background. The news anchor declares that today marks the 28th day since Se Dojan, an unregistered resident of Zone Z, entered the rift. The Hero Association, expecting a massive monster wave, is shocked by this sudden disappearance and has launched a full investigation into the cause. Meanwhile, The news reports a mysterious fire breaking out at a scrapyard near the rift's location. Some people on the street sarcastically comment that the bastard Se Dojan must have died in the rift. Some say he deserved it, while others argue it's common sense to avoid a newly formed rift. A calm voice responds that someone has already died, and such remarks are unnecessary. Another person replies that everyone is lucky the rift's disappearance saved Seoul from becoming a battlefield. Se Dojan, disguised under a hood, quietly observes the situation and thinks that if the rift is gone forever, he may never see the world tree again, but acknowledges it's probably for the best. He looks up at the sky, thinking there's always something worth protecting no matter what happens. Se Dojan heads to the HCS Finance Company building in Yongdongpo. Inside, two men discuss how Se Dojan is surely dead, meaning the old lady and young girl, his grandmother and sister Yunying, are as good as done. One says that if things go wrong, the family's organs will be sold. As for the grandmother, she's done, but if the girl grows up, the boss might find ways to exploit her later. Se Dojan, still disguised, enters the building and coldly asks the men about their boss. Boss Kim appears outside, walking casually and confidently. Believing everything is settled since Se Dojan is dead, he asks his assistant about the day's schedule. The assistant informs him of a lunch appointment and an evening meeting with Director Bae. The boss smiles confidently, instructing the assistant to call Ms. Kong and prepare new girls if available. He ascends the stairs, unaware of what awaits. Suddenly, he's stunned to see one of his men violently attacked and thrown aside. The boss looks on in shock and fear as blood drips from the man's face after the unexpected blow. He sees the man lying on the floor before Se Dojan, who stands firm, confronting everyone. The injured man rises, coughing blood, facing Se Dojan, who orders him to crawl like a dog. Fear is evident on the boss's face as he hesitates to comply. Se Dojan continues to humiliate the boss in front of everyone, kicking the table hard to assert dominance. He sarcastically asks if the boss heard him clearly. Boss Kim crawls on the floor to Se Dojan, who sits cross-legged on a chair and is ordered to bark like a dog. Se Dojan declares that someone like him doesn't deserve to be treated as human, ordering him to bark as loud as possible. Boss Kim is forced to bark repeatedly like a dog, shouting in fear and humiliation before everyone. His men hear Se Dojan demand their leader bark louder and clearer. The humiliation deepens as the boss continues barking loudly, while others witness the horrifying and unbelievable scene. Se Dojan sits relaxed, berating those around him as hypocrites who grovel before him but would stab him in the back at the first chance. He turns to Hwang Changsib, sarcastically asking if he thinks this is the first time Se Dojan has dealt with trash like him. Chairman Hwang Changsib begins begging Se Dojan for forgiveness, promising lifelong loyalty as a dog. But Se Dojan refuses to hear the pleas, shouting for him to shut up and delivering a powerful kick that sends him flying. Se Dojan turns to the bespectacled assistant, calling him glasses, startling him. He tells the assistant he's now the chairman, advising him not to waste his life serving like a dog under scum like the former boss. Pointing to the old boss lying motionless on the floor, Se Dojan says dealing with trash like him isn't hard. The assistant hesitates, noting the old boss has many connections, and a sudden takeover could raise suspicions. The assistant continues begging for forgiveness and a chance for the old boss, angering Se Dojan, who asks why he's so slow to understand. Se Dojan reminds the assistant how they typically dispose of people, dumping them in the sea or at a scrapyard. He threatens everyone that if they don't deal with the old boss, he'll throw him into a gate to become monster food. Chairman Hwang Changsib continues pleading, promising to serve like a dog. But Se Dojan completely ignores him. He considers killing Hwang Changsib on the spot to avoid future trouble. Then he sighs, wondering if he's become too soft. Se Dojan reaches toward Hwang Changsib, telling him to come closer. Hwang approaches slowly and hesitantly. Se Dojan grabs him, coldly saying he accepts the apology for the past. Then he says he'll treat him like a brother from now on. But Hwang is suddenly stunned. Flames suddenly erupt in Hwang Changsib's hand, causing him to panic. Se Dojan looks into Hwang's eyes, saying this is his final chance. As the flames burn in Se Dojan's eyes, Hwang's terrified expression reflects in them. Se Dojan slams Huang Changsib to the ground, leaving him writhing in pain. Se Dojan leaves the building, issuing a final warning to everyone. If anyone dares harm his family again, he will kill them all. He orders them to protect his family for life, without fail. Meanwhile, official news reports declare that Se Dojan has been confirmed dead in the rift. According to the government, the judo app, and various media outlets, Se Dojan quietly sits in a public place, reading the news on his phone, seeing reports of his own death spreading everywhere. He thinks to himself that even if he announced he was alive, it would only cause more chaos and trouble. He decides to take time to reflect, while his sister Yunying sits happily in front of him, enjoying her meal with great joy. Se Dojan feels happiness watching Yunying eat cheerfully and innocently. Yunying expresses joy and excitement about moving to a new place. Se Dojan tells her she'll attend kindergarten like other kids and start school next year. But suddenly, sadness appears on Yunying's face, and she falls completely silent. Se Dojan notices her sadness, surprised, and asks if she doesn't want to go to kindergarten. Yunying responds with deep sadness, saying the kids there mock her for not having a mother or father. Se Dojan falls silent, clearly affected and saddened by his sister's words. After a moment, he gently says it's okay. She doesn't need to go to kindergarten or deal with those mean kids. She can go straight to school next year. Yunying's expression instantly changes, and she smiles happily, asking with joy if she really doesn't have to go to kindergarten. Se Dojan calmly confirms and agrees. He thinks to himself that the solution might be to enroll her in a prestigious private school where no one would dare mock or look down on her. He recalls an earlier moment at a motel when he scolded the bespectacled assistant for letting his grandmother and sister stay there, asking if he had any sense. The assistant tried to justify it, saying the motel was owned by them and thus safe. But Se Dojan cut him off, telling him not to waste words with excuses. In the room, Yunying shouted with joy upon seeing her brother enter. She and their grandmother ran to hug him tightly with happiness and longing. His grandmother held Se Dojan's hand, saying with a trembling voice that she could hardly believe he was truly back, nearly crying with joy and emotion. Meanwhile, Yunying continued to cry, repeatedly calling out, "Brother! Brother!" Se Dojan looked at her, feeling deep sadness and emotion at his sister's and grandmother's reactions. He gently reassured them that he had truly returned, alive, and came back for them. In a later scene, Yunying asks her brother if he's a hero. Se Dojan gently asks if she really wants him to be a hero, but she sadly says she hopes he isn't, as she heard heroes fight scary monsters and sometimes die in the process. She shows him a naive drawing of their family, saying she and their grandmother want him to stay with them for a long time. Se Dojan is deeply moved by her heartfelt words. He begins recalling his past life in a dark, brutal world, remembering what he lost in long battles with monsters. But now he acknowledges that this journey has brought back something precious he had forgotten: family. Se Dojan quietly watches his family sitting together peacefully in their new home, vowing to himself that as long as he's here, he can protect this small happiness. The scene shifts to a wide aerial view of the city with a large building in the background. The story moves inside the building, where Nate Huang, the founder of the Korean Hero Association and a member of the Global Hero Alliance, appears, speaking gravely. "So they still haven't found anything?" His assistant responds respectfully, confirming no information has been found and apologizing deeply, prompting Nate Huang to express disappointment over the lack of progress. Nate Huang is frustrated by the inability to identify the cause behind the rift's mysterious disappearance. He worries that the rift vanishing on its own could mean it might reappear at any moment. The assistant, with a serious and anxious tone, confirms this uncertainty is extremely dangerous, suggesting a monster wave might be preferable to this unpredictability. But Nate Huang interrupts, emphasizing that the safety of the people is the top priority. He apologizes to the assistant for overreacting. It's explained that Nate Huang is among the top 100 heroes globally, the founder of the Korean Hero Association, and a senior member of the Global Hero Alliance. It's noted he could become president if he wanted, but has no interest in the position. He is described as solely focused on protecting citizens and preparing for new rifts. Na Huang instructs his assistant to continue a thorough investigation, no matter how long it takes. The assistant reports that the owner of a house near the rift area has agreed to sell the property, relieving Na Huang. He orders that the owner receive generous compensation to avoid resentment, stressing that compensating for the loss of a home is worthwhile. Na Huang worries aloud about what's really happening, especially since rifts appeared simultaneously in multiple countries. The assistant confirms that the US and China have controlled their rifts, but the real issue now lies in the United Kingdom. She explains that most of the UK's strongest heroes have been sent to deal with rifts elsewhere. Suddenly, an emergency alert appears on Na Huang's device, and he looks at it with shock and horror. Breaking news announces a new and dangerous rift in the United Kingdom, with an emergency declared. Citizens are urged to stay vigilant. The scene shifts to a street where Se Dojan walks unnoticed among the crowd, still disguised. He heads to a mana stone shop, noticing large banners advertising high prices for stones. As soon as Se Dojan enters, an employee screams in terror upon seeing him. The employee yells for the manager, pointing at Se Dojan and saying the person he initially thought was a nobody is actually someone significant. The manager asks if he's talking about that person, then turns to Se Dojan angrily, asking if he's the one who pressured the staff to sell stones when he was away. But Se Dojan calmly and sarcastically replies that he arrived at the right time, as he has a large quantity of mana stones to sell and hopes to deal with someone higher up. He forcefully tosses a bag of mana stones onto the floor, creating a loud thud. The manager glances at the stones, assuming they're low-grade like last time. Deciding not to deal with Se Dojan again, he tells him to leave immediately. Se Dojan, surprised by the manager's reaction, sharply asks if he doesn't want to do business with him. The manager angrily emphasizes that trading with Se Dojan at a 1% commission is absurd and causes significant losses. He states he no longer wants to work with him, but Se Dojan confidently responds that the manager will regret it, his eyes full of challenge. The manager retorts that reasoning with him is impossible, adding that the gate center's 5% fee exists for a reason and isn't worth explaining to someone like him. He firmly demands Se Dojan leave the shop and not return, clearly unwilling to continue the transaction. When Se Dojan pours the bag's contents onto the floor, a large number of red mana stones spill out. Both the employee and manager are stunned by the sight of such valuable stones. The manager recognizes a particular stone, a hero mana stone, rumored to be worth over 1,000 times the average annual income. But Se Dojan calmly responds to their astonished looks, saying if they don't want to buy, he'll forget the matter and leave. The properties of the hero mana stone are explained, an extremely rare stone with immense power and enormous monetary value. A story is mentioned about a Mexican drug lord named Kurzaman, who once tried to process a mana stone for drugs, but its energy awakened him as a hero for the first time. Since then, these stones have become critically important to heroes for their power and mana-enhancing capabilities. In the shop, the manager and employee stare at the rare stone in awe, fully aware of its value. But Se Dojan calmly asks them to put the stones back in the bag as he's about to leave. The manager's attitude shifts immediately, politely inviting Se Dojan to sit while they appraise the stones. The employee quickly gathers the stones and arranges them carefully on the table. Se Dojan sits waiting for the appraisal, sipping a drink with a cold demeanor. While waiting, the manager cautiously mentions a 0.5% commission, worried it's too low. Se Dojan indifferently replies, "Then don't take the deal." The manager, stressed, quickly apologizes, saying he didn't mean to refuse. He's just curious. The manager asks why Se Dojan lowered the commission to 0.5%, and he responds that it's simply because he finds it annoying. The manager, frightened, hurriedly apologizes, admitting he didn't think it through. Se Dojan coldly says he's tired of apologies and asks directly if the manager will take the deal. The employee watches the situation, inwardly furious at Se Dojan's treatment of the manager, silently calling him rude and arrogant. The manager tries to explain the stone's importance, noting that most other companies buy at market price without commission, and here Se Dojan isn't charged high fees. Se Dojan interrupts, saying, "This conversation is too long. If you don't like it, I'll leave." The manager hurriedly lowers the commission, offering 9%, then 8%, but Se Dojan sarcastically rejects them all. The manager continues negotiating, dropping to 7%, then 6%, then 5%, but Se Dojan rejects them all, mocking the manager's poor negotiation skills. The manager kneels in desperation before Se Dojan, but Se Dojan offers a 1% commission as a gesture for their previous deal. However, when the manager inwardly screams, calling Se Dojan a highway robber for demanding that commission, he's clearly angry and desperate. Se Dojan smiles calmly, quietly telling the manager he has about 7 more bags of similar stones. Immediately, the manager's attitude changes completely. He yells for the employee to quickly bring the contract. Realizing the value of the deal, he nearly lost. Se Dojan looks at his phone, thinking that his dream of buying a 110 billion won house is no longer impossible with the money he's accumulated. But he soon faces a new problem. He can't obtain high-quality mana stones from ordinary gates. He thinks it would be ideal if he could freely enter rift zones, the primary source of high-grade mana stones. Suddenly, Se Dojan's phone emits a loud notification sound. The manager anxiously asks if a monster wave is erupting. Se Dojan checks his phone, seeing a report about a new monster wave in the United Kingdom, specifically in the southern region. The alert advises tourists and business people to adjust their plans immediately. A wry smile appears on Se Dojan's face. After reading news about a serious real-world issue, Dojan instantly lost interest in teasing the shop manager. In the past, regardless of which nation or association was in charge, he might have jumped in to seal the rift himself. But now he was different. There were more important things to pursue and protect. That evening, Dojan treated the family to an extravagant feast. The main dish was premium redland beef, making little Hyen drool as she had the marbled fat of pork and beef sizzling on the grill. High-quality cuts and an array of enticing side dishes were continuously brought out by the staff, filling the table nonstop. Worried about the expensive menu prices, Grandma cautiously asked her grandson if such spending was okay, as 250,000 won for 100 g of meat was no small sum. Dojan quickly dispelled her concerns, assuring her that after a wildly successful crystal harvest, they could eat as much as they wanted without denting their massive bank balance. The first bite of meat touched Dojan's tongue, and he was captivated by the rich, savory flavor of the top-tier beef. He kept piling more meat onto the grill while Grandma watched, half worried, half delighted. Good heavens, a fresh pack of ribs, shoulder loin, short ribs, and even grilled pork belly were about to be served. It was beyond imagination. This was outright insane. How could 3 people, really more like 2.5, possibly finish all this food? But Grandma underestimated the appetite of a protagonist. To ease her worries, little Hyen sweetly encouraged her to try a piece of the pricey meat. Unable to resist her adorable granddaughter's invitation, Grandma gave in. With just one small bite, all her worries melted away as if they'd never existed. The family then enjoyed a luxurious dinner, filled with laughter and happiness radiating around the table. Unbeknownst to them, an alluring woman entered the restaurant, drawing every eye from the moment she stepped in. Diners nearly strained their necks turning to watch her pass by. She walked straight to Dojan, called his name, and said she just wanted to talk, nothing more. Before she could explain why, Dojan coldly cut her off, clearly annoyed at being interrupted during family dinner, and asked her to come back when they were done. Hyen Jian, an S-rank hunter, pulled out her business card, hoping her name would change his attitude. Contrary to her expectations, Dojan ignored her, continuing to grill and eat as if she didn't exist. Swallowing her pride, Hyen Jian patiently waited in the restaurant's lounge. A star like her sitting among ordinary people drew every gaze, with men and women sneaking glances nonstop. Not only was she ranked 4th among the nation's S-rank heroes, but she was also considered one of the 10 most beautiful female heroes in the world. Everyone wondered, who could make Hyen Jian wait like this? Ignoring the whispers, she reflected on their brief encounter. From what she knew, Dojan had entered his first gate just 2 months ago. After surviving, he was suspected of being an awakened one. Though once thought dead in the Mapo Rift incident, he now sat calmly dining with his family, very much alive. Beyond the inconsistencies surrounding him, a single sharp glance from Dojan had made an S-rank hunter like Hyen Jian wary. How could a newly awakened person reach S-rank in under 2 months? Even the oil tycoon Calfmore, who poured money into mana like water, took 5 months to reach the top. Hyen Jian deduced that Dojan must possess some undisclosed special ability. Finally, as Dojan, Grandma, and Yunying finished eating and relaxed, they stood to leave the restaurant. Near the exit, Hyen Jian quickly approached to talk to the mysterious young man. But before she could speak, another group suddenly appeared in the restaurant, their arrogant demeanor overpowering the atmosphere. Dojan's eyes turned icy when he saw the man who entered. That smug bastard hadn't expected to see Dojan alive after a deadly gate expedition. Enraged, he hurled insults. He was intrigued by Dojan's cockroach-like resilience. Hyen Jian immediately recognized the troublemaker. In a single glance, the restaurant's atmosphere grew tense, enveloped in heavy silence and wary looks from all sides. Ignoring the shallow provocations, Dojan coldly beckoned the man closer. Kong Xiaowu was stunned to see an S-rank hero chatting casually with a filthy commoner. Dojan calmly asked Hyen Jian to look after his family for a moment, just briefly. All she needed to do was hail a taxi to get them home safely. It'd be easier if his family wasn't here when he settled an old debt with this stray dog. Fortunately, Hyen Jian was a sensible young woman who understood the situation. She followed Dojan's request, reassuring Grandma and the little girl that everything would be fine, then waved goodbye as they left. Though their eyes betrayed worry, Dojan could only stand silently, watching the taxi disappear with a forced composure. As soon as the car sped away from the restaurant, a resounding slap echoed, shaking the entire place. With his family gone, Dojan shed his refined facade, delivering an unforgettable slap to the bastard. His movement was so swift that Kong Xiaowu didn't even see it coming, only feeling his cheek burn from the sudden strike. Humiliated by the shameful blow, Xiaowu gritted his teeth in rage, lunging to retaliate. A panicked waiter tried to intervene, fearing that a fight between two awakened beings would destroy the restaurant. But the reasonable plea was met with a rough shove. Luckily, the waiter wasn't seriously hurt, just dazed from the forceful push. Dojan remained calm, requesting all customers and staff to leave for safety. Xiaowu, easily provoked and all brawn, couldn't muster a decent retort. So, he received another punishing blow to the face. Unprepared and unable to dodge, he only felt the cold knuckles slam into his head. Xiaowu was the one who had trapped the original Se Dojan in a gate, leaving him to die. Though not directly responsible, Dojan harbored a burning grudge against this scum. Today, he wanted to settle things clearly. The goblin-faced lackey, Xiaowu, sneered, bringing up how Dojan's wicked stepmother had orchestrated everything. Realizing extracting information from this fool was easier than expected, Dojan pulled out his phone, opened the video app, and started recording without hesitation. A clear confession would make his life much smoother. Once again, Xiaowu was provoked by Dojan's brazen attitude. Clenching his fists, he cursed Dojan's mother as trash and charged with full fury, intent on finishing the job and killing Dojan right there. But sadly, his crude attacks were useless against Dojan's superior skills. Dojan deflected the punch with a movement as light as air. As if hitting an invisible elastic shield, Xiaowu's fist recoiled mercilessly. He had never faced anything like this, as he always relied on brute strength to crush everything. This time, his opponent far exceeded the limits of his tiny brain's comprehension. Suddenly, he was pushed back, his body staggering as if swept away. Dojan watched the movement like a hunter toying with weak prey. The sound of fists hitting skull rang out repeatedly, haunting the restaurant. Meanwhile, the terrified waiter tried to dial the police, but before she could hit call, a small, gentle hand pulled the phone away. With a bright smile, Hyen Jian assured her she'd handle everything, no police needed. The waiter sighed in relief, comforted by the kind face amid the chaos. Slaps, scratches, and relentless blows rained down on Kong Xiaowu, giving him no chance to catch his breath. According to Jian, that bastard was a B-rank hero, and at that level, few could reduce him to such a state. Judging by the beatdown, Dojan was likely A rank, yet the fight was still too one-sided. Before things spiraled further, Jian gently called for Dojan to stop. She worried that if the beating continued, Kang Chiu-woo might die. Listening, Dojan let the limp lackey slump to the floor, calmly wiping his hands. Seeing the deep grudge between them, Jian asked what Dojan knew about Chiu-woo. Though he didn't know the full story, Dojan knew enough to take revenge on this scum. Jian warned that Chiu-woo was connected to Kang Yo-pil, an S-rank hero. But Dojan already knew and saw no issue. Jian had never met someone so reckless and wild. He seemed unconcerned about the consequences, even if it meant angering an S-ranker. Hyen Jian explained that Kang Yo-pil was very protective of his troublesome cousin. The restaurant incident would surely reach that monster's ears, and blood would spill. Dojan laughed at Jian's concern, as he was the last person on Earth afraid of S-rank heroes. What annoyed him more was that Jian now knew too much about his life. The scum had been dealt with. Now, Dojan's grudge shifted to the nosy S-rank woman. Face to face, the wild young man glared at the fearless girl. Hyen Jian wasn't one to be intimidated. She didn't back down from a threatening stare like that. Shifting the topic, Hyen Jian apologized for her sudden visit, then gently explained her reason. Her uncle had sent her to talk. After learning about the magic crystals Dojan sold, Jian expressed her desire to buy the rest, offering any price to secure them. Dojan warned that they weren't cheap, as he had stockpiled many valuable treasures. Jian smiled, assuring him that an experienced S-rank hero's wealth was beyond ordinary imagination. Dojan didn't object to the sale, but had one small condition before the deal. It was likely trivial for someone like Jian. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the city, the sound of shattering expensive wine bottles echoed through a room. Dojan's wicked stepmother was livid at the shocking news. The stepson she thought was dead was alive and well, like a cockroach. Her subordinate had sworn the kid died in the rift, yet rumors of his survival were spreading. She couldn't blame the bald assistant, as even the Hero Association had confirmed Dojan's death. But she wasn't interested in excuses. She wanted action, especially since word arrived that Dojan had defeated Kang Chiu-woo. At this point, Dojan likely knew who was behind the assassination attempt. Hearing she might be implicated, the stepmother paled, not out of fear of Dojan, but the trouble if her father or husband discovered her shady dealings. Everything could be covered up, but if the press caught wind, the corporation's stock prices would plummet. She ordered immediate media control. If it leaked, T Group and W Group would cut contracts and ads. Most crucially, they needed to bribe the police. Her team had already deployed comprehensive countermeasures. Seeing her minions show some competence, she felt slightly relieved, but the bald director Lai whispered a warning. Even with clever cover-ups, this wasn't a permanent fix. He suggested a plan to end the headache by leveraging ties to Kang Chiu-woo's relative. That was Kang Yo-pil, infamous enough that even the stepmother knew of him. Chiu-woo was considered trash among heroes, but everyone knew he was close to his powerful cousin. In truth, Chiu-woo was just a pawn doing Yo-pil's dirty work. Neither was normal. If Chiu-woo were arrested or exposed by the media, Yo-pil's S-rank reputation would take a hit. Yo-pil was already moving to manage the crisis. The stepmother decided she needed to meet him as soon as possible. Meanwhile, that stray dog Changsib from HCS Capital had openly sided with the opposition. He was protecting Dojan's family, so she demanded a prosecutor on the line immediately. Traitors would pay dearly. The next morning, a group of heroes entered one of Korea's 37 rift zones. Only 5 had been turned into safe gates. The rest were exploited per the association's schedule. Today, Jian led the team into the rift. With her S-rank ID, she could access nearly any gate without restriction. Amid the heroes in flashy gear, a young man stood out in a tattered hoodie. Jian had chosen Dojan as a temporary team member for this trip. Joining an S-ranker was rare, exciting the group. Jian claimed she joined for fun, but in reality, she arranged for Dojan to legally enter a restricted rift zone. Dojan agreed to sell the remaining magic crystals to Jian at market price, provided she let him enter a high-level rift to earn money. Rifts were full of treasures, but entering such dangerous places just for profit, fearless, was insane. For Jian, the crystals were enough. After a few minutes through a dark tunnel, the group emerged into a forest glowing with radiant light. Unable to contain her curiosity, Inju bombarded Jian with questions about the guy accompanying them. Jian brushed it off, saying he was an acquaintance, but no one bought it. Inja guessed he was Jian's boyfriend. Annoyed by the persistent questions, she revealed part of the truth. The guy was here because she owed him a favor. It wasn't every day an S-ranker owed someone. While the group chattered, no one noticed the anomaly in the sky. A massive black shadow blocked the sunlight, making everyone look up. A monstrous bird-like creature circled, ready to attack. As part of the Arc Guild, Jian's team reacted instantly, drawing weapons and taking battle positions. The first encounter was with the legendary beast Goxi. With veteran raid experience, Jian took command, issuing concise orders. Dojan, handle defense. Seho, aim for its legs first, she shouted. But before she could assign more roles, a figure shot forward like lightning, leaving everyone behind. With a decisive leap, they closed the distance to the flying beast. Se Dojan completely ignored the team's plan, choosing to confront the monstrous bird head-on alone. The Arc group and other heroes stood dumbfounded, jaws dropped at the sight. They'd never seen anyone act so recklessly bold. Charging his fist with power, Dojan prepared to unleash an opening strike with full force. Meanwhile, guild leader Inju could only sigh bitterly at their bad luck. They'd barely entered the gate and already faced such a troublesome enemy. While the team scrambled to organize, Dojan casually dropped his backpack. As Hyen Jian barked orders, he shot forward like a bullet, soaring into the sky like a whirlwind. A single leap neutralized the Goxi's aerial advantage. Dojan dominated the battlefield, energy blazing around him. The grotesque bird wasn't fast enough to react, let alone defend. It took the full-force punch square to its beak. The beast crashed to the ground, while Dojan hovered among the clouds. It was a poetic reversal. Dojan landed lightly before the group, not a drop of sweat on his brow. As the Goxi lay dying, gasping its last, the imprint of his fist was clear on its cheek, undeniable proof of his overwhelming strength. The Arc members were stunned, even S-ranker Jian frozen in awe. They witnessed his ruthlessness next. Dojan didn't stop, calmly lifting his foot and stomping the beast's head. Again and again, until it was a pulpy mess. Many found it excessively brutal, but killing a Goxi required such terrifying force. The sound of crunching bones and splattering blood chilled the team to their core. Inju now desperately wanted to know who Dojan was, and even Jian couldn't answer definitively. She only knew Se Dojan was insanely strong. Calling him strong was an understatement. Few heroes worldwide could do what he just did. Killing a Goxi with one punch wasn't something just anyone could achieve. Inju tried downplaying the feat by mentioning her sister, an exceptional hero. Still, Jian remained shocked. Before her was a true hidden master. She watched the fight without blinking, memorizing Dojan's decisiveness and terrifying power, her curiosity surging. Turning to Inju, she made a sudden change. I'll head deeper into the center with Dojan for now. Everyone else, stay at the outer edge. Jian approached Dojan, who was dissecting the Goxi's corpse for materials. Before she could speak, he cut in. I don't share loot with those who don't contribute. Fortunately, Jian wasn't after petty crystal fragments. She wanted to propose venturing deeper into the gate, to a place worthy of his strength. With a smile, Dojan nodded, visibly excited. Jian knew this gate well and took the lead, with Dojan following closely. Without warning, she shot forward, her speed causing a sonic boom. Dojan watched her vanish toward the horizon, then slung on his backpack and broke into a sprint. Maintaining blistering speed effortlessly, Jian kept glancing back to see if Dojan could keep up. Seeing no sign of him, she felt relieved, thinking she'd overdone the initial chase, and slowed slightly. But at that moment, Dojan appeared beside her, casually asking, "Can we go faster?" The question shattered her focus, nearly making her stumble in shock. It was her first time experiencing this. No one had ever matched her speed in a race. She was among the top 2 fastest in the country, but the rankings might need an update. Seconds later, Dojan stopped mid-path, teasing that she was slower than he'd thought. Though Jian had run full tilt to show off, as she caught her breath, Dojan gazed toward the horizon, where a majestic sight emerged. Before them stood a colossal mountain range touching the blue clouds. When Jian asked what lay within, Dojan's expression turned grave. He said, "That's the lair of the boss monster, a beast called Kasirian." According to him, Caesarion was a gigantic dragon-dinosaur hybrid over 20 meters tall, so daunting Hyen couldn't fathom facing it. Defeating Caesarion typically required at least 3 S-rank combat-specialized heroes to even survive. But Dojan knew it could drop a legendary grade mana stone, a treasure just below the highest tier in the magic system. For that reward, he wouldn't let it slip away. Hyen opposed the reckless plan, but Dojan stated bluntly, with or without her, he'd fight the dragon. Hyen watched silently as he charged at terrifying speed toward the mountain to conquer the beast. Though she knew it was madness, she felt no choice but to follow him into the insanity. Something dangerous and dark awaited them in the boss monster's lair. Dojan's sky-high confidence in facing a monster capable of troubling 3 S-rank heroes left Hyen Jian utterly shaken. But what shocked her even more was arriving to find the cockatrice already dead at her feet. The battle had ended before she even grasped what happened. Dojan calmly pulled his knife from the beast's corpse, leaving Jian speechless. Her astonishment reflected her thoughts. This wasn't a creature easily defeated. She mentioned the renowned hero Park Hae-yeol, who built his fame hunting beasts like the cockatrice. Despite being S-rank, his first encounter with a cockatrice required 30 A-rank heroes as support. Yet, despite their caution, all the A-rankers were slaughtered, with only Park Hae-yeol surviving, barely clinging to life. Determined for revenge, he later returned with another S-rank hero and 100 A-rankers, practically a small army. The battle was brutal and bloody. They focused on destroying the cockatrice's wings to ground it, then overwhelmed it with relentless attacks. It recalled a famous debate, 100 men versus 1 gorilla. If betting, I'd choose the humans. Sure enough, the cockatrice was defeated, but only a few heroes survived. The rest were mercilessly massacred. The losses were so severe that Park Hae-yeol's guild, the Sweet Life, hadn't recovered after 3 years. Yet, an unremarkable-looking guy like Dojan took down a cockatrice with ease, bewildering Jian. Though he teased that she'd get no loot for fighting air, Jian remained stunned by the absurdity of the man before her. Had she not seen it herself, she'd never believe this insane outcome. The terrifying cockatrice was obliterated by a single blow from Dojan. He successfully extracted a stunning mana stone from the dragon's corpse. Gazing at the stone briefly, Dojan said he no longer needed a guide. From here, he'd manage alone. Uninterested in the dragon's claws or fangs, he turned away, bluntly rejecting Jian's offer, leaving her too shocked to speak. She stood rooted in place, as if frozen for life. Meanwhile, Dojan focused on collecting mana stones, generously letting Jian keep the remaining loot as payment. Glancing at the dragon's corpse, she decided she didn't need anything from it. As dusk fell, the rest of the group couldn't believe their eyes. They were dumbfounded seeing Dojan with 3 bags full of mana stones, an unimaginable sight even A-rank heroes wouldn't dare dream of. For a guild to gather that much material would take at least 20 hours. For such high-quality loot, 3 days might not suffice. They wondered, who was Dojan? All eyes turned to Hyen Jian, who brought him, but she was just as clueless. Even the A-rank guild leader couldn't fathom how Dojan defeated the cockatrice without special gear. This feat alone placed Dojan at the top of Korea's hero rankings, unmatched. He was born different. One A-rank hero even thought he might be the world's strongest at his level. She was utterly astonished. Exhausted, Dojan returned laden with bags. In 1 day of hunting, he'd gathered that much. The group felt no one would believe their story. Dojan's superhuman strength was the epitome of absurdity. They were told to keep absolute silence about today's events and reluctantly agreed. Jian approached Dojan, chatting about various things. From afar, they looked like a flirting couple, at least to their teammates. The group tried convincing themselves this was the start of a new ship. They thought only Dojan could match Jian, given their monstrous strength. But the A-rank guild leader soon realized they weren't the perfect pair she'd imagined. Instead, their expressions suggested an argument. She couldn't believe someone dared argue loudly with Jian, whom everyone feared. Most shocking was Dojan handing her a bag, then silently turning to leave without another word, leaving the guild leader stunned. Regarding Dojan's collected bags, Jian confirmed. He feared that if the world knew he'd slain the cockatrice, he'd become an overnight sensation. That was something he didn't want. so he passed the responsibility to Jian. Hearing this, both fell silent, unable to speak. But ironically, the truth always finds a way to surface. Though unspoken, Jian's curiosity about this mysterious young man grew. She was starting to feel something for him. The scene shifts to another location, where we learn more about a renowned S-rank hero. That S-ranker is Park Hae-yeol. He pummels a punching bag with feral intensity, as if transformed into a wild beast. His assistant, standing nearby, is stunned by the ferocity of his training. It's clear Hae-yeol harbors an uncontrollable rage. He's the guild master of Sweet Life. The assistant gently advises him to conserve energy, as patience will carry him far in tough times. Hae-yeol agrees, believing those who underestimate him will soon taste defeat. One day, everyone will look up to him as the strongest guild master. The assistant mentions Hae-yeol's string of victories against the cockatrice, setting him apart. She claims his name will go down in history as the hero who defeated the cockatrice with the smallest team. Humorously, that title is hard to surpass, unless Stephen Hawking rises from the grave to pull off a miracle. The guild master shares her excitement, boasting about his feats. Still, the guild has suffered heavy losses over the past 3 years, no longer what it once was. What makes Hae-yeol smile is knowing he's currently the only one capable of defeating a cockatrice. This is affirmed by his one-eyed confidant. While discussing top-tier heroes, the scene shifts to Kang Yangpyo's office. He's reading a report about Dojan's chaotic night with Cheol-woo and how he obliterated his cousin. Though Cheol-woo intended to trap Dojan in a spatial gate forever, a twist led to his awakening. The mastermind behind the assassination was director Hong Hye-jin, one of Korea's richest. To Yangpyo, it's baffling why she targeted Dojan, until he learns Dojan is her illegitimate son. Welcomed into the family at age 7, he was cast out when her biological child was born. Yangpyo laughs, noting even the wealthy can't escape being discarded. Discussing the assassination fee, they were paid 3 billion won for the job. A paltry sum to Yangpyo, but worse, Cheol-woo, after his clash with Dojan, is on death's door, burned, battered, blind, and crippled for life. This highlights Dojan's ruthlessness, which even Yangpyo acknowledges. Still, he muses with amusement that if it were him, he'd have hacked off Cheol-woo's limbs and crushed his skull on the first go. Initially, people thought he was saner than his cousin, but now it's clear he's even crazier. When mentioning the fight's location, they note Jian was present and aided Dojan somehow. Surprised, Yangpyo demands more details. He doesn't yet grasp what makes Dojan special. Unfortunately, his trusted aide also lacks specifics about the secret meeting between the two. The case file was closed long ago. Get the hell out. Yangpyo grabs his aide's wrist, roaring to investigate their connection at all costs. Suspecting a hidden deal, the aide crumbles under the fierce reaction. He scrambles to investigate, not daring to delay. Yangpyo, in a fit of rage, smashes furniture, his anger erupting uncontrollably. Amid his fury, he's lucid enough to know Hong Hye-jin's people will soon approach him to finish what Cheol-woo failed. This thought eases him, as being hired suits him. Hong Hye-jin is insanely rich, with wealth rivaling Andrew Tate. So taking her money is easy for a greedy man like him. Back to Dojan, just returning from the chaotic raid. After today's experience, he feels lucky for choosing a rift over a major gate for professional hunters. But things aren't simple. He may need to maintain a long-term tie with Jian to avoid attention. Recalling their talk, she warned that many would suspect the identity of the cockatrice slayer. If his identity leaks, the consequences would be severe. Jian's plan is to hold on to the loot. If Dojan ever wants fame, she's ready to reveal the truth. In response, he tossed her the bag, telling her to keep all the valuables. This means he must find another way into rifts without relying on Jian to avoid trouble for her. Tonight, though, he'll sleep soundly in the lavish house Changseeb specially arranged. But at the door, he freezes, spotting a row of unfamiliar shoes lined up outside. The presence of multiple shoes signals uninvited guests. Stepping inside, he finds a group of men in sharp suits standing solemnly in the living room, talking with his family. It feels like a formal meeting, not a sudden intrusion. The leader, resembling a grim version of Nanami from Jujutsu Kaisen, has hawk-like eyes scanning for prey. Yunying runs out, joyfully hugging her brother. Dojan, still confused, doesn't grasp the situation. The man introduces himself with a commanding tone. I'm Prosecutor Park Chae-jong. He quickly points out Dojan's tie to Changseep. Due to their close connection, Dojan faces an immediate arrest warrant for allegedly aiding a loan-sharking ring run by HCS Capital's corrupt CEO. Under the radiant sunlight streaming through the window, the prosecutor's office is bathed in light, yet the atmosphere feels oppressive. Do-jun, now Dojan, sits cuffed tightly to a chair, his sharp eyes scanning every corner, searching for a way out of this dire situation while maintaining his composure. Prosecutor Park Cheol-young enters, phone in hand, voice deferential. Yes, Chief Lee, don't worry. Hwang Chang-seop and Se Dojan are very cooperative. He pushes the door open, striding in confidently. Thank you for your concern about my daughter's study abroad. Please send my regards to Director Hong Hee-ju. Before the surveillance screen, Cheol-young watches Dojan, chained, a smirk curling his lips. The reason I became a prosecutor, he laughs loudly, voice echoing, is to sweep scum like you out of society. Soon after, he enters the interrogation room, slamming a stack of papers on the table, the sound ringing like a declaration of war. His face drips with contempt as he points at Dojan, demanding, "What have you ever accomplished? With these charges, you're looking at 15 years. He holds up a document, voice triumphant. We have evidence of your crimes, backed by Hwang Chang-seop's testimony. Dojan's expression darkens, but he stays silent, eyes cold. Losing patience, Cheol-young yells, "Look at this bastard. Think I'm framing you." Suddenly, Dojan speaks, his voice low but cutting. "Hong Hee-ju's behind this, right?" The words halt Cheol-young, his face flushing with rage. He pounds the table, roaring, "Who's Hong Hee-ju? What nonsense is this?" Meanwhile, Dojan frowns, thinking, Hwang Chang-seop's side has completely collapsed. Dojan opts for silence to avoid escalating, but the tension mounts. Cheol-young paces, trying to stay calm, his voice menacing. "Kid, you think Korean prosecutors are pushovers? Your life's over, fool." Abruptly, Dojan looks up, his icy gaze piercing. Cheol-young shudders, sweat pouring out. He leaps up, stammering, then grits his teeth, cursing, "You bastard." As he raises a hand to strike, a staff member opens the door, shouting, "Prosecutor Park, can you step out?" Yin-young's voice echoes from the hall. "Is the machine broken?" Cheol-young glances at a report as the staff replies softly, "No, sir. I checked. It's fine." He frowns. Then why does the awakening detector say he's a civilian? Does that make sense? This is Se Dojan. The staff shrugs helplessly. "I don't know. Maybe the awakening data's wrong." Cheol-young muses, muttering, "But this is from T Corporation, it can't be wrong." He even knows Hong Hee-ju's name. Who is this guy? In the interrogation room, Dojan sighs, his eyes blazing with anger. "Now I get why they call Korean prosecutors lapdogs," he mutters bitterly. "Should I just tear it all down?" As he ponders, the door swings open. Jian enters, slightly confused. "What are you doing here?" Seeing her, Dojan relaxes, leaning back. "I don't even know anymore." Jian frowns, serious. "I know you're upset, but using your power would be disastrous." Dojan smirks. "You here to help me?" Jian crosses her arms, meeting his gaze. "Not exactly. But when I know an innocent person's framed, I have to fix it." Dojan chuckles, his eyes warming slightly. "Classy." Jian continues. "The Awakened Association will investigate. They're monitoring awakening licenses and a new rift in Macasian." Dojan, uninterested, shifts topics. "What about my family?" Jian waves dismissively, annoyed. "Am I your assistant? Why should I care about your family?" But under Dojan's chilling stare, she falters, looking away. Before leaving, she softens. "They're safe, don't worry." Dojan exhales. "Thanks, I owe you." Jian blushes, glancing at him. "Just be patient. I'll handle this fast." Instead of directly proving Dojan's innocence, she exposes Cheol-young's bribery and misconduct, leading to his dismissal. A fair investigation clears Dojan, though he faces a suspended sentence for a fake awakening license, mitigated by Jian's protection. In the car carrying them, a news report plays. In the UK, an unknown monster is attacking civilians. This 1.5-meter tall mantis-like creature has 4 eyes and remarkable jumping ability. Dojan says coldly. It's a Macasion. Hyen, shocked, asks, how do you know? Only the association knows that name. His calm demeanor fuels her suspicion. Macasians can be killed with red fire and extract, Dojan explains coolly. Harmless to humans, but a paralyzing toxin for them. Hyen falls silent, brows furrowed. Dojan, who are you? He doesn't answer, staring ahead. The car brakes suddenly. Frustrated by his silence, Hyen snaps. Are you listening? After a pause, Dojan's lips move, his gaze menacing. What if I kill you now? In a sealed room, the protagonist's stepmother sits, her face taut with barely contained rage. Across from her stands a bald man, silent for a long moment. Finally, he speaks. That's the situation. She remains seated, her expression rigid with fury, as if on the verge of exploding. Why Hyen Jian? She growls, each word sharp. The bald man replies, voice tinged with confusion. It's still unclear. She doesn't know the connection between them and Se Dojan or how they met. Her eyes blaze as she screams, that damned girl. What the hell is going on? Slamming her hand on the table, she stands, shouting, what do you mean Dojan's not a hero? You said he awakened. The bald man sweats, stammering, about that. He does seem awakened. He might have a power that fools the hero detector. But it's just a theory. Enraged, she yells, contact Kong Yumpio. 20 billion? No, I'll pay 30 billion. She orders decisively. Tell him to start immediately. The scene shifts to Kong Yumpio. He pushes back. 30 billion? Not enough. Tell her double. His suited subordinate, surprised, asks, double? Isn't that too much? Kong smirks. You don't get it. I'm her only option. Confidently, he continues. When it's done, 60 billion's nothing to her. Now Hyen Jian's involved. Facing an S rank needs at least that much. The subordinate tilts his head, muttering, Hyen Jian's a dangerous opponent. A deafening crash interrupts. Boom. Kong stands, sneering. Think all S ranks are the same? Give me 20 minutes. I'll take her down clean. The subordinate pales, bowing. Yes, sir. Kong grins smugly. Any response from the association? The subordinate nods. They can't increase payment due to the UK situation. They're publicly selecting heroes to send. Pacing, Kong mutters. Damn. Can't even say I won't go for cheap pay. The association's the real scum. When do we leave? The subordinate replies. Flight in 3 days, coordinated with Japanese heroes. Kong raises an eyebrow, nodding. Japan, huh? Good. I wanted to meet Takashi. Gazing out a high-rise window, his eyes burn with ambition. Macasion, a new monster with no known weaknesses. If I find its weakness, my value skyrockets. Huh. The scene shifts to Cambridge, UK, where lightning tears through a pitch-black sky, purple bolts raging. A grotesque giant appears in the city center, its iron-like legs towering. Panicked crowds flee, a dark wave flooding cobblestone streets. The creature looms in the square, its glowing yellow eyes glaring, body clad in black steel scales. A team of heroes stands before it. The leader shouts, You with the great sword, take point. Warriors behind grip their weapons, trembling under the creature's invisible pressure. In a flash of lightning, their heavy breathing echoes. Can we survive? The monster screeches, its massive arms swinging like death's whip. Boom. The ground shatters, frontline heroes flung by the shockwave. Warriors counter, charging together. A female mage casts a purple barrier, magic enveloping her. After a joint assault, the beast collapses, headless, lifeless. But it's not over. More identical monsters appear, their yellow eyes brimming with malice. Horror spreads across Cambridge, chilling all. Buildings burn, red flames reflecting on the dark sky. UK heroes fight desperately to stop the monster's southern advance. Without enemy intel or strategy, fear and helplessness grow, and Cambridge's final defenses crumble. Flames consume streets, black smoke obscuring the sky. The steel-clad beasts charge south, unhindered, just 60 kilometers from London. Their war-godlike forms emit a cold, metallic glow. Suddenly, the monsters collapse en masse, stunning the heroes. A helicopter's rotors roar above. A hero team watches from the cabin, faces tense. One yells, Below, my God, it's real. The group is awestruck. A girl with icy eyes, Hyen Jian, stands among them. A teammate says she was right. Red and extract works. The Macasian won't last long. Another thinks she's incredible. How did she know? But Hyen Jian stays silent, knowing Dojan provided the method. She ignores their astonished gazes. Turning, she says firmly, time to end this. Two teammates respond, eyes gleaming. No hesitation. The team leaps from the helicopter, diving like arrows. Hyen Jian leads, drawing a silver dagger, its blade glinting coldly. The scene shifts to London's International Airport, where a plane lands. Outside the terminal, reporters wait, cameras rolling, murmurs and hurried steps echoing. So many reporters. Well, it's Hyen Jian, one whispers. A dark-haired man adds, she's the standout of the UK campaign. She found the Macasian's weakness, a true hero. Another chimes in excitedly. Heard the British royals might knight her. A shout rings out. There she is. Cameras swivel. Hyen Jian pulls her suitcase toward the exit, flashes erupting. Reporters swarm. Ms. Hyen Jian, look here. How'd you find the Macasian's weakness? She glares coldly through the chaos. Behind her, Kong Youngpyo appears, smirking smugly. A reporter calls. Kong Youngpyo, a word? They say you caught the most Macasians. The 200-person team, including Hyen Jian, returns. Korean heroes saved the UK from disaster. The key to hunting Macasians was spraying red ant extract into the air, a tactic Hyen Jian proposed first. On a screen, an interview airs. Watching, the protagonist's eyes burn with cold fury, teeth grinding, his mind roaring. Kong Youngpyo. In a quiet cafe, soft yellow light spills through the window onto wooden tables. Dojan sits with Hyen Jian. She places several elegant gift bags on the table, her voice gentle. Presents. Dojan looks up, frowning in surprise. Presents for what? Hyen Jian smiles, pointing to each bag. These are for Unyoung and your grandma, and this one's for you. Open them at home, no need to do it here. Dojan's eyes catch the neatly folded clothes in one bag, high-quality fabric with meticulous stitching. He mutters, these look expensive. Hyen Jian replies calmly, a small thank you for your help. Because of you, I became a true hero. Compared to what I gained, these gifts are nothing. If you need, I can buy you a car. Dojan says evenly. I'll let you know if I do. Finally got to repay the favor. Hyen Jian narrows her eyes, speaking slowly. Even if I ask how you knew the Macasian's weakness, you won't answer, will you? Dojan's gaze is cold, unwavering. Why should I? Hyen Jian stares, conflicted but silent. She sighs, so what's your plan now? In her mind, she thinks, I don't expect some world peace answer from him. But if he's targeting Hong Hee-ju or Kong Youngpyo, it'll cause chaos. I need to stop it before it's too late. Dojan tilts his head, eyes deep. First, I should buy a house. Hyen Jian blinks. You're renting your current place? The scene shifts to a lavish villa, where the powerful party by a pool with wine and women, purple lights blending with pulsing music. Kong Youngpyo revels, arms around two girls, thinking, Hyen Jian's changed so much, knowing the Macasian's weakness and hiding how she found it. She's concealing something. He recalls on the plane, asking her, forget Macasians. What's between you and Dojan? Hyen Jian replied coldly. What are you talking about? He raised an eyebrow. You derailed a prosecution to save him, didn't you? You were there when he took it down. Hyen Jian adjusted her hair, eyes indifferent. Kong Cheol started it. Remember the gate assassination? Even that day, he provoked first. Kong Youngpyo smirked. Haha, that idiot did stupid things for pocket change. No surprise he's dead, but he was my cousin, got it? I have reasons to go after Se Dojan. Hyen Jian stayed silent, her sharp eyes emotionless, replying flatly, do what you want. I'm not involved. Kong Youngpyo frowned, surprised by her detachment. Weren't they close? Or not? Hyen Jian leaned back, closing her eyes, murmuring, no need for me to interfere. Her words echo in his mind. He repeats with a sly grin, no need to interfere? She really said that. He thinks, Se Dojan's hiding something. The scene shifts to Shrewsbury, UK, ravaged by a monster wave. The British Hero Association scrambles to collect mana stones before the second wave, deploying heroes into the rift. A gate guard laments, if we had red ant extract, Even D-ranks like us could kill Macasians. Another nods. Yeah, stopping the wave earlier could have let us mine a mana stone vein. A rift with a monster wave can't become a gate anymore. Heard the second wave will bring different monsters, not Macasians. The other replies, right, just thinking about it's chilling. No one knows what'll emerge. Some nations were wiped out by that. Suddenly, a guard looks up, frowning. I feel someone exiting the rift. The raid team? It's only been 5 hours. The other waves it off. Focus on guarding. Civilians will swarm when they hear about mana stones. Then, the rift glows fiercely, red cracks sparking like lightning. The guards panic, faces pale. From the rift's depths, a massive black figure emerges, muscular, with steel-like skin and glowing eyes amid purple energy mist. Each heavy step shakes the ground. What's that? Not a hero. A blonde guard yells, trembling. Look at the clothes and scars. Contact HQ. Before grabbing his device, a green flash erupts, and a black metallic hand seizes him. Lifted by an unseen force, he screams, "What the hell?" Drawing his weapon, he shouts, "Bastard," but is slammed to the ground. The attacker walks coldly, glowing green mana circles radiating from him. He whispers, voice hoarse with contempt, "Too weak." Clenching his fist, light flares again. The two guards are crushed like ants, blood spraying, their screams echoing. He raises a hand, purple-black energy shooting out, a phone displaying 19.26%. He mutters, 15 years in this world, and my power's not even at 20%. Why did creating a spatial rift fail? First, I need denser mana. Passing the guard's corpses, a survivor gasps, "Who are you?" With a flick of his arm, the guard is pulverized into blood and flesh. He says coldly, "First, I'll clear out weak insects." The scene shifts to Paju, South Korea. Amid lush green fields under a clear sky, Se Dojan walks slowly, a large bag slung over his shoulder. Suddenly, his eyes flash with alertness. He stops, tilting his head, sensing vibrations growing closer from beneath the ground. Giant worms erupt, tearing through the grass, raising towering dust clouds. Dojan stands unfazed, fearless. He tilts his head, gauging 26 within a 100-meter radius. Let's see how many survive. Fire ignites in his palm. With a faint smile, he hurls a fireball at the ground. The earth splits, scorch marks spreading. Rocks rise, ready for the wrath to come. The flames explode, unleashing a shockwave. The beasts, barely emerged for 3 seconds, drop dead. Dojan stands, observing the gruesome scene, his face unchanging, as if accustomed to it. His lips curl slightly into a faint smile. The scene cuts to a sleek high-rise in a modern city. In a quiet office, an older man sips coffee, voice calm. "So, what kind of person is he?" The man answering, wearing glasses, looks serious. He's hard to pin down, but confirmed himself as a hero. "This is Manhwa, Vice Director of the Korean Hero Association." The older man raises an eyebrow. "Didn't you say the power detector couldn't measure him?" Manhwa nods, helpless. Still no explanation for that. Chairman Baek Sung-chun slams the table, furious. "That insolent kid." The association asks, he answers. But he lowers his hand, voice softening. "Anything else?" Manhwa flips through files, shaking his head. "Not much, but it started with a vile plot by hero Kang Cheol-woo. After Dojan's counterattack and him single-handedly handling the new Mapa rift, despite some oversteps, one thing's clear. His power is overwhelming, unmatched." Baek Sung-chun crosses his arms, pondering. A wild horse, hard to tame, but a war horse. He requested an official hero license, bypassing procedures with a guarantor. He asks, "Who's the guarantor?" Manhwa replies gravely, S-rank hero Hyen Jian. The room falls silent. The men exchange stunned glances. The scene cuts to Dojan's battle. His lips curl, holding a brand new S-rank license, the 8th in Korean history. With it, he can freely hunt monsters in rift zones. Around him, giant worm corpses lie scattered. In another meeting room, laughter erupts. "Haha, he got the license and rushed to Paju. What a guy." Manhwa nods. "Very proactive, rare." Baek Sung-chun, shocked, says, "No way. Entering a level 2 rift alone. No guild, no team. Is he insane?" The room goes quiet. The chairman's eyes glint coldly, calculating. He breathes heavily, shouting, "If Se Dojan comes back alive, announce him loudly as Korea's 8th S-rank hero. Min Hong Gi objects. He likely doesn't want attention. Ask him first." Baek Sung-chun snaps. Annoying. A new S-rank in unstable times calms the public, doesn't it? The chairman nods. I see both sides. I'll meet him myself. The scene cuts to a battlefield in a dense forest near a rift. Dojan delivers a devastating kick to a massive beast, his eyes gleaming with excitement. His hands blaze, body spinning, unleashing a colossal flame that reduces surrounding monsters to ash. He lands lightly, corpses falling like rain behind him. Standing atop the pile, Dojan surveys his work, murmuring, "Mana drains higher than expected. Time to get new weapons." The scene shifts to the hero complex in Paju, South Korea, inside an unassuming forge. A muscular blacksmith glues his eyes to his phone. The doorbell jingles as Se Dojan enters. The shopkeeper doesn't bother greeting, speaking arrogantly. Name of the person who booked. Se Dojan slams a heavy cloth bag onto the counter, voice icy. "I want a weapon crafted from these." The blacksmith glances at the bag, scoffing. "If you didn't book, try somewhere else." Se Dojan asks sharply. "You're the one who answered the phone, right?" The man snaps. "We're busy. Go elsewhere." Without a word, Se Dojan grabs his collar, lifting him effortlessly, voice chilling. "You the owner?" The man panics. "I'm the owner's son." Dojan tightens his grip. "Get your father." "I came because this place is supposedly reputable." Under that cold stare, the son stumbles off, calling, "Dad, someone wants to see you." A sturdy old blacksmith emerges, Choi Cho-kwon, a legendary weapon crafter for heroes. He eyes Se Dojan, asking curtly, "Who sent you?" Dojan replies, "Hyen Jian." The name makes both father and son pale, the shop's air growing heavy. Dojan opens the bag, placing a reddish-brown material on the counter. The old blacksmith freezes, chills running down his spine. They inspect it, stammering, This is..." The son, seeing his father's ashen face, asks, "Dad, what is it?" The father answers, voice trembling, "The fong of a black venom serpent. It's been ages since I've seen one." Dojan states his request, "Forge a long sword, as long as possible." The old man balks. "Long? You don't get it. Non-metal materials like this weaken if overstretched. I'll make 2 mid-sized blades." Dojan frowns. "Are you admitting you're not skilled enough? Join the 2 blades. I need a long sword, ideally with enhanced mana absorption." At Dojan's audacity, the son shouts, "Who do you think you are, making demands? My dad only crafts weapons with at least tier 3 mana absorption." Dojan, silent, picks up a pre-forged sword, examining it. "This is at least tier 5, he remarks. With a slight flex, the room glows, and the sword shatters like tofu. The son gapes, the father winces. Dojan drops the fragments, voice frigid. "If this trash is what you plan to craft, quit now." Silence engulfs the room. Father and son, terrified, don't dare speak. The scene shifts to a lush forest where a colossal monster awakens, baring its fangs in a guttural roar, its massive red eye glaring menacingly. The one-eyed beast bellows. Se Dojan appears, strolling casually, muttering, noisy as ever. Clasping his hands, flames erupt as he dodges its stomp. Before it can react, Dojan charges at blinding speed, slicing deep into its shoulder. The beast howls, gripping a nearby tree in pain, veins bulging. The tree doesn't harm Dojan. Instead, he cleaves it in half with one decisive slash. With icy eyes, he surges forward. The monster trembles, its bravado crumbling. In a flash, Dojan circles behind, incinerating its massive body with magical flames. The beast begins regenerating, green energy healing its wounds, flesh knitting. But Dojan doesn't let it recover, lightly touching its back. Boom. The creature's body blackens, shrieking as it collapses, its head severed. Dojan stands unscathed, having felled the giant in moments. He mutters, maintaining a mana sword that long isn't easy. Red flames flicker on his hand, but his shoulders sag with fatigue. Bending down, he pulls a cup from his backpack, placing it on the ground and opening it. Blood from the slain Cyclops pours in. Hoarsely, he says, "Chased this Cyclops all day for this." The scene shifts to a windless evening outside the forge. Dojan hands the cup to the owner's son, who takes it, frowning. "What's this?" Dojan replies coldly, "Tell your father this will make joining the Fangs easier." He turns to leave. The son calls, "Hey, at least say something before you go." Scratching his head, he mumbles, "What's this stuff?" "Weird junk." His voice fades into the breeze and the glow of high-rise lights on the sidewalk. Dojan's steps remain steady, deliberate. He muses, "Basic materials are ready, but to elevate mana absorption to new heights, there's only one way. Shame it's not on Earth anymore." The scene shifts to an outdoor resort, a silver-lit pool shimmering under lights. A phone buzzes, displaying Se Dojan. A stunning woman lounging poolside answers, half curious, half amused. "Hello." Whatever said, her eyes widen in shock. "What?" The scene shifts to a lively poolside, filled with laughter. At the lounge area, sunlight spills over the grass, and Jian, wrapped in a green and white checkered towel, reclines on a sunbed. Beside her is Dong In-woo. They chat lightly, a sense of calm and joy radiating in the sunlight. Jian speaks. "The association's sending heroes to Brazil?" Dong In-woo replies without hesitation. "Yeah, looks like Brazil's government and their association are out of options. They're locking down the entire rift zone. The monsters there are fierce, but they only drop low-grade mana stones. The association's pay is decent, so the group decided to go." Dong In-woo adds, "If we're going, bring that guy too. Lately, heroes are buzzing about the 5 among the 8 S ranks. He's one of them, right?" Jian freezes. "I'm not sure." Dong In-woo chuckles. "No way you don't know. Heard you two are close." Jian stammers. "What are you guys saying?" He laughs loudly, so cute. The light laughter livens the mood. Dong In-woo continues. "I saw you two hunt Macasians alone." Jian mumbles. "It's not a big deal. Fine, we'll go." He grins enthusiastically. "Thanks." The atmosphere seems light, but a cryptic remark cuts through. "I'm not sure he'll agree to come along, though." The scene shifts to old blacksmith Cheol Kwan, staring at an item, muttering skeptically, How'd you know? Non-metal material, melted and fused so precisely." Se Dojan's face exudes confidence, as if wielding knowledge from a past life. His eyes are heavy, pondering technology beyond human grasp. Cheol Kwan asks, "How do you know Cyclops' blood could be used like this?" Dojan replies, "Now make the longest version as requested. 180 centimeters should do, right?" Dojan describes, "Two-handed style, but adjust the grip so I can swing it one-handed, about 5 kilograms." Cheol Kwan raises an eyebrow, intrigued and amused, muttering, "Why's he suddenly so polite? Thought he was a nobody, but he knows basic manners. If not for that, is this weapon truly that valuable?" He adds, 5 kilos is heavy for one-handed swings, especially repeated ones." Dojan smiles calmly, reassuring, "Just make it. How long will it take?" Cheol Kwan answers, "At least a month. Mana absorption could reach tier 7. Dojan thinks, tier 7? His razor-sharp gaze wonders if that can withstand his true power. Light glints in his cold eyes, as if weighing a critical choice. He tilts his head, whispering firmly, "As expected, I'll need that." He leaves, saying calmly, "Start with the mold. We'll handle mana absorption upgrades when I bring the material." Cheol Kwan watches his back, stunned. Is he going for that material? Days later, the city unfolds along a winding river amid modern buildings. A black Rolls-Royce stops before a lavish structure. Se Dojan stands confidently, saying softly, "Thanks, I'll use it well." Jian, in uniform, raises an eyebrow, her look mixing curiosity and embarrassment. "No big deal. But do I look that small to you? Telling me to buy a billion-won car?" Dojan gives a faint smile, slipping out, "This is enough." Jian lowers her head, cheeks flushing, then asks as he admires the new car, "What's up with the Hero Association?" Dojan explains, "They want to publicize my info. I said if they do, there'll be a price." Jian, surprised, says, "A price?" Chairman Na Taehoang values justice. Dojan retorts firmly, "Seems so." Negotiations failed. Jian presses, "Can't you get along with them a bit?" I'd appreciate it if you considered my position as your guarantor. The car door shuts with a click. Dojan's in the driver's seat, leaving Ju-yun standing, frozen. Silence hangs. She speaks first. The association swamped sending people to Brazil's rift. Once things calm down, talk to the chairman again. Hearing the familiar name, Dojan interrupts. Brazil? Ju-yun confirms. Yes, Brazil. She adds, they're sealing off part of the rift zone. Their eyes meet, soft and faintly romantic. Dojan asks, you going? Her heart skips at the sudden question. Flustered but honest, she admits, I am. Dojan looks straight at her, resolute. What do you mean? We're going together. The unexpected offer stuns her, heart racing, cheeks flushing. Meanwhile, Hong Hee-ju rides, eyes blazing with rage. Chairman Na Tae-hwang, a fearsome man, sits opposite, hands clasped, eyes glinting in the dark. Hong Hee-ju yells, what? How much more? Na Tae-hwang's voice is steady. This isn't the time to pinch pennies, Director Hong Ji-ai. She stands, screaming. You took 30 billion and dare ask for more? When will you do the job? I should have hired someone else. She adds, with money, there's no shortage of killers who don't care about consequences. Na Tae-hwang smirks. Kakik, but would anyone else take that job? Leaning back, he mocks. Your intel network's pretty weak, huh? Here's some free info. Se Dojan? He's S-rank. Korea's 8th S-rank hero. The room freezes, centered on that name. She glares, shouting, that rude punk's S-rank? You trying to scam me? He replies, taunting, don't believe me? That info cost a fortune. Ignore it, and regret it when Dojan kills you. Watching his back, Hong Hee-ju calls, wait, is he really S-rank? The air grows stifling. Panicked, she shouts, if he's S-rank, I can't handle him. I'll pay more, do whatever it takes, just get it done. Na Tae-hwang smiles, eyes calculating. Money's nice, but a close business partnership would be better. His words carry weight, hinting at a shadowy power network. She adds, anyway, just kill him. A phone's ring interrupts. Na Tae-hwang glances at it, saying, looks like the heavens favor you, Director Hong Ji-ai. Confused, she asks, what? He raises the phone. A great chance to kill Se Dojan. A plane glides through a blue sky with fluffy clouds. 2 documents appear, one labeled True Hero, subtitled Hero Identity Revealed, beside images of 2 shadowy figures, one purple, one black, against a white backdrop. Inside, a man in a black suit, white shirt, and black tie sits. Online comments buzz. Jang Seongo's going to Brazil, soloed P group, topped regenerators, sniffing money like a fiend. Brazil pays that much. Park Hae-yeol's in for cash, right? Roads blocked, probably broke. Hyen Jian's going, national hero status. Time to cash in? She's hot. Kong Youngpyo too? Brazil's paying big. Herd mana stones from this mission are tax-free, full payout. 1 mid-grade mana stone, and you're set for life. On Se Dojan, who's he? Rookie or debuting in Brazil? Daharo Gazer says. Young, probably sent to learn, but his skills suck. So Kong Speedy adds, if he's S-rank, that's his limit. The plane sails through the sky, clouds drifting, a calm before the storm. Eyes follow it, pensive and restless. Night hasn't fallen, but fate takes flight with that plane. The scene opens over the clear blue sky of Sao Paulo, Brazil, where towering skyscrapers gleam in the morning sun. This is the headquarters of the Brazilian Hero Association. 2 men in sharp suits converse. One reports, voice low, the Korean hero team landed at the airport not long ago. The bearded man's eyes widen, pleased and surprised. Oh, great news. They're the fastest to respond among the countries we requested. He continues, some heroes didn't even stop at their lodgings. They acted right upon arrival. Typical Korean efficiency. But I'm worried they'll uncover that. His eyes flicker with deep unease. The bearded man clasps his hands, gazing at the ceiling, brow furrowed. No secret stays hidden forever. Keep it under control, at least until this operation ends. After a brief silence, the long-haired man nods. Understood. He sighs, eyes heavy with unspoken concerns. A flash of a lifeless body appears. A large man, now a cold corpse, his face marked by battle scars. This was Moray, Brazil's national hero, killed by an unidentified entity. Not a monster, Black box footage showed no deformed creature but a human figure, wreathed in swirling purple energy, eyes cold and face inhumanly sharp. What happened at the Santa Teresa Rift? A human, not a monster, killed one of their strongest heroes, hinting at a terrifying secret yet to be revealed. In a vast auditorium, heroes sit through a briefing. Hyen Jian sits quietly in a corner, eyes fixed on her phone. She texts Se Dojan, "Where are you?" The press conference started. Her phone buzzes with his reply, "I'm heading somewhere farther out." Frowning, she types, "Farther? Where?" His response is curt, "Santa Teresa." Her eyes widen, stunned. "Santa Teresa? You're going to the most dangerous rift alone." On stage, the briefing continues as if nothing's amiss. After 2 days of local acclamation, heroes will be deployed to designated rift zones. At the luxurious BOM hotel, a yellow taxi pulls up. Jian steps out, carrying a suitcase and bag, but pauses upon seeing a familiar face. He blocks the car door, asking, "Where are you going?" "The schedule hasn't started." She replies firmly, "I have somewhere to be." He frowns, puzzled. "Where?" Her eyes burn with resolve. "Santa Teresa." She drives off, leaving him musing. Santa Teresa, the place the Brazilian Association told us to avoid. In the ashen forest near the Santa Teresa Rift, dim light falls on barren land. Heroes march steadily, led by Se Dojan in a white shirt. Jian speaks. "We're here now, so at least tell me why you're in such a rush." Dojan replies coolly, "I was waiting for you. Aren't you the one who's late?" She retorts, "If you'd told me earlier, I wouldn't have kept you waiting, Se Dojan." "Fine, drop it," she continues. "What's your goal here?" Dojan keeps walking, answering tersely, "Blue Croco." She glances ahead, voice cold. "Blue Croco? That's it." He responds, "Do I need another reason?" After a brief silence, she shifts from scolding, looking up. "Dojan, you know I'm 3 years older, right?" Without turning, he says, "So?" She bristles. "It's not so. Show some respect to your senior." Dojan shrugs. "I'm using honorifics, aren't I? You can talk casually if you want. Trying to make this awkward? Fine, I'll keep the honorifics." She grimaces, "That's not what I meant." In her mind, unbelievable, he's talking like that to Hyen Jian. A black-haired hero nearby voices concern. "Is it okay to charge into a rift like this?" A brown-haired one reassures, "Relax, we've got Hyen Jian. What's to fear?" The black-haired hero frowns. "I know she's strong, but the guy leading is a rookie." The long-haired hero smirks. "Rookie?" He chuckles, resting his weapon on his shoulder, eyes confident. "Not all rookies are the same. If it's Se Dojan, he's a legendary rookie." Two teammates ask, "Is he really that strong?" While the group debates, Dojan and Jian continue their usual bickering. Their faces show stubbornness, but their eyes lack hostility, hinting at a unique chemistry. Jian glances at him, suspicion mixed with worry. "Dojan, don't tell me you're here to wipe out this rift?" He looks back, calm. "I'm here for materials." "Why destroy it?" He emphasizes, "Gotta use everything to its fullest." She frowns, thinking materials? Their talk is cut short by a piercing screech as the ground shakes. A creature with massive claws dives from the sky like lightning. A shield-bearing hero blocks the sudden attack with all his strength. The clash booms, dust billowing. The long-haired hero shouts, "Stay sharp, form up." He grips his weapon, eyes scanning the battlefield. Facing the newly emerged beast, he growls, "Damn, it's worse than the pictures." The two heroes behind look scared. The brown-haired one swallows hard, voice shaky. "Wait, isn't this too dangerous?" The black-haired one freezes, eyes wide, sensing the enemy's overwhelming power. A low voice cuts through, "Move." Se Dojan steps forward decisively, sword in hand. A memory flashes, Cheol Quan handing him a sword, saying, "Getting a blue croco's heart barehanded isn't easy. Use my prized sword for the material." Now, in the real battlefield, Dojan crouches, gripping the hilt tightly, and swings. The slash tears the air with terrifying force, cratering the ground, kicking up a dust vortex. The blade's light blazes, striking the target, marking the legendary rookie's opening move. In an instant, the beast's body is riddled with cuts, collapsing dead. The long-haired hero gapes, as expected. The two behind, faces pale, eyes wide, stammer. What the hell? He's unreal. They chorus, voices breaking in shock. Before them, amid blood and monster corpses, Se Dojan stands tall, his sword still dripping blood. The sky darkens as the group gathers around a campfire, weary but alert. A voice brims with astonishment. See that? Dojan dropped the blue croco in one strike. Another nearby adds, I've lost count of how many monsters he's taken down solo. Incredible. The long-haired hero whispers, keep this quiet. But he handled a concastrian the same way. The black-haired one gapes, incredulous. He caught that bird monster too? He's no ordinary hero. Jian approaches Dojan, asking, finished with the blue croco's heart? Dojan gestures to a box. As you can see, she wonders silently, what's he planning with those hearts? Then, curious, she asks, what meat are you grilling? Doesn't look like beef. Dojan replies, blue croco meat. It's edible. Want to try? Her face pales, eyes widening in shock. Didn't we pack enough food? Why eat that? Dojan, eating casually, shrugs. Your choice if you don't want it. Jian stares, stunned, but grabs chopsticks to try. Dong Inwoo yells, Jian, you're actually eating that. She eyes the sizzling meat, saying, he said it's fine. Taking a bite, she chews, thinking, it's surprisingly good. Dong Inwoo watches, then asks Dojan, what's your trick, man? How'd you convince Jian? She's naive, never had a boyfriend. Not the type to fall easily. Dating secrets? How'd you get her to eat that? Dojan's expression turns thoughtful, murmuring, dating? A flashback emerges, his mid-20s, with Lady Lawenda Lesulian, Countess Maisel of Grain, and Veronica, his last hope in a shattered world. Dong Inwoo snaps, seeing Dojan drift. Hey, you listening? Dojan replies confidently, honey doesn't chase the bee. Dong Inwoo freezes, horrified. God, that's the cheesiest line I've ever heard. The scene shifts to Sao Paulo. Kong Young Pyo, wine glass in hand, hears his secretary say, that's all we know. I can't fathom it. The operation hasn't started, yet they've entered the rift. Kong adds, and Dojan, Jian, and her Biden Hyang Cosmo crew are with him. Anything valuable near Santrum? The secretary replies, not that I know. Brazil said it's highly dangerous. Everything about Dojan is unpredictable. A phone call interrupts. Kong answers, Director Hong, what's up? The voice snaps, is Dojan still alive? When will you do your job? Kong frowns, why the rush? Something happened. The voice fumes. My father saw Dojan's S-rank news and told me to bring him home. So, T Corporation's chairman is involved. That's why you're worried. Angrily, it adds, no time for jokes. Your plan. Kong grins. Dojan won't leave Brazil. The voice perks up. I like that. Kong says, got it? Hang up, Director Hong. He turns to his secretary. Contact Takashi. I've got a solid partner, so let's not disappoint. Tell him Dojan's in a remote spot. Makes the job easier. The scene shifts to a dense jungle. Dojan leads, Jian beside him. Anxious. You're going into the jungle? They say dangerous monsters live there. Dojan turns. What kind? Jian, sweating, says, spirit cats. Dojan nods. Spirit cats, huh? They're here too. Curious, she asks, you know them? He replies firmly, of course. Jian, worried, mutters, I knew it. She hands him a small object. I won't stop you, but wear this. Dojan, surprised, asks, what's that? Holding an earpiece-like device, she says gravely, earplug. A spirit cat's cry can paralyze your mind. You said you knew. Dojan replies, I don't need it. Flustered, Jian insists, you can't underestimate a spirit cat. Brazil's Hero Association warned us to be extra careful. Hours later, night falls. Jian keeps warning Dojan. Suddenly, a red-eyed spirit cat appears, radiating extreme danger. The group freezes, faces pale with fear and awe, eyes wide, mouths agape. Dong Inwoo shouts, voice shaking. It's a spirit cat. Cover your ears. The team panics, plugging their ears, terror etched on their faces. Dojan stands calm, staring at the spirit cat, completely unafraid.